guys, welcome in. Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Thursday. So much stuff to get to today. We have got, we got to talk about this response to that Indy Star article. The response to the obvious tells you everything you need to know about the people that are defending and standing behind and promoting Diego Morales. Like, I was blown away yesterday about that. We got to get into. Now they're considering a special session for the gas tax, and what the governor said about that is great. But first, well, it only took us about 10 years, guys, but we finally got an admission. Finally got an admission yesterday from the General Assembly. Hey, there might be an issue with assessments in the state of Indiana. Maybe, just maybe, the assessment process is what's screwing up property taxes. Yes, that is exactly what is screwing up property taxes. Look, there's the argument to begin with about whether there should be property taxes. I, of course, feel there should not be. And I also reject the argument of, well, how are you going to pay for blank? I've always rejected that as a reason that you can't have whatever tax, because I've operated from the standpoint there shouldn't be, in many cases, blank. Look, I have been an elected local official. I have seen the amount of waste in local governments, and I am sure is infinitely greater than it was 10 years ago when I last served. And one of the things that I hated about being a local elected official is that you can't just rule by fiat. You can't rule by waving a magic wand. You can't rule by force. You as an elected official, especially one where you're a governing board, you're not a mayor, you can only get a fraction of what you want. If you're a local elected official, and this is, I'm sure, true at the state level as well, you got to really hone in on a handful of things that you want. A handful of things that you say, these are my top priorities. And everything else, look, there's just not enough hours in the day to get it all. There's just not enough hours in the day to get it all. By the way, new chair here, guys. Did you notice this? The new chair is here. Let me know what you think. I will tell you, it is, while this is not an upscale chair, it is infinitely better than the chair I had yesterday. No. $200 is not upscale. Now, look, I'm a very frugal person. This is upscale to me, but I'm saying to the average person, $200 for a chair, not a big deal. This is much better. To go from my back literally spasming at night, where we were last week, having to sit at that desk, to this is worlds better. But to come back to this thing, there is so much waste in local government. That's why I was so pissed off last year when these local government people, the mayors, the township trustees, where they're coming to these Senate hearings, these House hearings. Oh, it's going to be all over. Oh, it's going to be so bad if anybody gets any property. Bull. So I've always rejected, like, well, if you didn't have this tax, how would you do it? There's always ways to do things. Local governments can do with less. They can. They don't want to. The state has to make them, because local governments are always going to take as much as they possibly can and spend it. And then when they don't get it, they're going to lie. They're going to exaggerate. They're going to fib. They're going to use, in the case of schools, kids as human shields. Remember last year, I think it was the superintendent at Mooresville was claiming the lights would get turned out if you guys got property tax relief. Do you guys remember that? Remember the I forget where the trustee was from. He was a trustee, and he was saying we're gonna have to let go 7 firefighters. And one of the state reps was like, "You're gonna fire 7 firefighters?" Your math doesn't add up. And then finally the guy was like, no, I don't mean fire him. I mean, just like we're not going to be able to hire 7 new ones. Okay, well, that's not letting somebody go. So the point is, I am against property taxes altogether. The government didn't buy your house. The government didn't have anything to do with you making the mortgage payment. That's your house. You own it. Government should have a claim to it. And by the way, the plan that is currently out there to get rid of property taxes, this is a 1288. I can't remember what the bill number is. The J.D. Prescott plan, that's a dumpster fire. The plan to replace property, not that it's going to move anywhere, but the plan to replace property taxes, to get rid of them, involves a 7% tax on services. It's way too high. The government's going to end up with more money out of this deal. And anybody tells you that it's a good deal, they're full of shit. That plan, at one point, will start having property taxes and the sales tax on services at the same time. The plan, and I told Prescott to his face about this last year. I met with him at his office. I don't think that's going to happen again anytime soon. After he voted for the property tax bill, stabbed us all in the back. But I told him, I said, your problem here is you're trying to replace the revenue. The problem is the revenue. The local governments have too much money, and for some reason, nobody in that state house will say it out loud. The schools, the cities, the towns, the counties, they have too much money. They're incentivized to not work smarter. Now, there are some things that are screwed up, like the school funding formula is a dumpster fire. But the issue is not total revenue. The issue is disbursement of monies and then the way the local governments handle the money that they're given. Look, in my town where I live, they've spent over $1 million designing swimming pools, rec centers, and Little League fields, none of which have come to fruition. $1 million. That could have fixed a lot of roads and sidewalks and done a lot of good stuff. There is not a lack of revenue. Carmel has so much money, they have fake people on the streets. Fake bison. They're not hurting for money. All of that being said, to say, if we're going to have property taxes, if we're going to have property taxes as a way that we are funding, as the way we're funding local governments, the assessment model is the worst possible way. The worst possible way imaginable. If you actually wanted consistency and you wanted protection and stability for the taxpayer. Now, of course, they don't want stability. They don't want to protect the taxpayer. They want as much money as possible to flow to these local governments. And the best way to do it is to have a totally unpredictable model in which, while this person is elected, they're not a fiscal agent. The assessor just pulls a number out of their ass and says your house is worth this. Now, some assessors are going to hear this and get mad and go, we're going by this table or that table, blah, blah, blah. Every year, the number's different. Oh, your house went up $12,000 this year. Really? Really? Or your house went up $8,000. Or your house went up. And by the way, who sets these tables? It's the state of Indiana. This is why when I hear people with some of these lawmakers go, well, your property taxes are a local issue. That idiot from Seymour, that's always his thing. That's a local issue. You got to take it up with your local. No, these local governments didn't grow out of a local government farm. Someone didn't plant a seed in the back of the State House, Jim. Local governments operate under the rules and regulations set forth by the state of Indiana. The state legislature, the General Assembly, could fix all of this tomorrow. And the system we have in place now is designed to ensure that property taxes keep going up. Many of you have gotten your bills. They went up. They're higher than they were a couple of years ago, even with the quote-unquote deduction. That only happens by design. And for years, people like me have been screaming that the assessments are the issue. It's one of the primary reasons I supported Braun's initial rollout on property taxes. Remember what it's so far removed now, but remember what the initial tenet of that bill was? a reset of the bills to 2021 levels, which is essentially wiped out the assessments, and then the bill capped the property tax bill capped how much bills could go up going forward. Remember those, wasn't it cut, cap, and replace? He had a slogan for it. And I think that was it. So it was cut the bill back to your 2021 level, which wipes out all the ridiculous assessment nonsense. And then we cap the amount your bill can go up every year. That was their way to get around the assessment nonsense, which is why I said this is a pretty good idea. It's a pretty good idea. Now, again, we've laid this out. They went kicking and screaming on that. They screwed it up several times. I had to keep correcting them. But finally, Braun and his people got to something that was pretty decent. We live in a system in which you get punished for someone else making money. Why is that okay? We live in a system where you get punished because someone else made money. Can you tell me anywhere else where that happens? Where if somebody else sells their stocks, if they cash out, do you get taxed for that? No. But that's the way our property taxes work. Hey, your neighbor who has a house that's pretty similar to yours, he sold and moved to Florida. And he sold his house for X amount of dollars. Now your house is worth that. Now you get taxed on that. And we, for years, have just operated like, the General Assembly has operated standard operating procedure. This is fine. It's like the little meme of the dog where everything's burning around him. Everything's burning around the table, and the dog is sitting there and goes, this is fine. Everything's fine. So finally, yesterday, and the Indiana Capital Chronicle has an article about this. Finally, they're going to have a summer study committee to take a look at assessments. Now, any of you who have been around the State House for any length of time, you know almost nothing ever happens with summer study committees. Not always, but most of the time. Certainly in the immediate future. Summer study committee is where they do something, and then they go, look, we're looking at it. Look, we're looking into it. What the hell else do you want from us? What do you guys want from us? We're looking into it. There's a study committee. We're studying it. A lot of times these things go on for years. A lot of times there's no immediate action out of anything that comes out of the study committee. Sometimes there's no action at all. So I don't want anybody to get their hopes up like, oh, they're finally going to really dig into assessments. But according to the Capital Chronicle, the bipartisan Legislative Council approved on Tuesday this year's interim study committee topics. So that means over the next several months, they're going to meet and look into this, with the Fiscal Policy Committee directed to review the process of determining property values for tax purposes. See, I could just make all this so simple for them. Stop taxing people based on what someone else sold their home for. Look, this is very simple. You should not be punished for someone else making money. The most simplistic way, if you're going to have property taxes, to solve this issue is to say, you bought your house. You bought it for X amount of dollars. You sell it 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later. You made X amount of dollars, you pay your taxes on that. The same way it works with the stock market. You know, you buy a stock at $100 and you hold on to it for 10 years and you sell it for $130. You pay the taxes on the $30 on each stock that you made. This is not rocket science. We already do this. If the goal was actually to protect people, that's what we would do. No more paying every year. No more paying on not monetizing something. No more paying on being a stable, reliable, consistent member of your community who cuts their grass and trims their weeds and grows their flowers. This is not that hard, guys. Last year, I think the video's still up. It's one of the few things they didn't erase on the WIBC YouTube feed. I did a a 4-minute video where it said, I will solve the property tax issue in 4 minutes, and I did it. I think somebody forgot to delete it or something. It's still up there. Maybe not after today. But this is not hard, guys. As long as the system is set up to fail, as long as you're going to have assessments as the way you tax people, you can never get meaningful property tax reform. As long as assessments, and by the way, you know what one of the other dirty little secrets is? Business assessments don't go up like home values do, home assessments. Why? Because there's fewer sales and business property doesn't move. It doesn't fluctuate. So it's another example of the General Assembly putting their big business friends who donate to their campaigns ahead of us. I thought this was interesting. They asked Rod Bray, he's the leader of the Senate, at least for now, about assessments in the summer study committee and this thing getting, quote unquote, studied. Now, again, this is the equivalent of running the four corners offense. They're running the clock out. They want you to think, oh, they're studying it. Oh, they're looking into it. They're not looking into anything. They're going to do, according to the Capitol Chronicle, the study should include reports submitted by the Department of Local Government Finance, such as a report on automated valuation models and a study of deductions and exemptions. Nothing. They're buying time. Remember in the Sandlot when the kid hits the baseball, the Babe Ruth autographed baseball over the fence into Mr. Myrtle's yard with the dog, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and they go to the store, and their plan is to they'll buy a baseball, they're going to sign it and put it back in their dad's room and hope he doesn't notice that it's different. And they go get the baseball, and Benny, the main character, he's signing the baseball, and the one kid goes, I don't know, Benny, that looks pretty crappy. Because, of course, his signature looks absolutely nothing like Babe Ruth's signature. But he just looks at the guy and goes, this is just to buy us some time, you idiots. That's what the General Assembly's doing here. They know the assessments came out. They know everyone is outraged. They know Rob Kendall was right again. They know that people know their taxes are going to keep going up. And so this is them, they're Benny in the Sandlot, with the horrible attempt to sign a name like Babe Ruth, going, this is just to buy us some time, you idiots. Nothing's going to change. Here's what Bray said about this. And again, there is no sense of urgency from these people. There is none. Quote, it's hard to get everyone's taxes to drop. That was the first thing he said. Hey, Rod, everyone's really angry because you guys said you were going to fix the property taxes and you didn't do anything. Would you like to comment on the issue about the summer study committee? Well, it's really hard to get everyone's taxes to drop. I can assure you, as someone who cut property tax rates all 4 years that I was in elected office, and I was just a local peon, it is not. It's really not. It's just math. It's just math. It's the least teensy bit of desire. Like if you have just a little bit of desire, and then, the formula is pretty simple. You just spend less than you bring in. I mean, it's really not hard to get everyone's taxes to drop. It's hard to get everyone's taxes to drop, though, because lots of different circumstances around the state. And then he gets asked about he's referring to the property tax bill. But we're also pleased with that. He's pleased with what's going on in our state. He said it right there. But we're also pleased with that. Who's we, by the way? Does Bray speak for the rest of the General Assembly? Does Bray speak for the rest of the Senate? Who is we, Rod Bray? Do you have a mouse in your pocket? Would have liked that to have been even a little better, but we're going to continue to have the conversation about property taxes. Gee, if only anyone had said, this bill is crap and it's not going to help anyone. Damn it. If there was just someone who with a very loud platform, a very large platform, had just been screaming last year during the legislative session, hey, this isn't helping anybody. Don't sign this. If only, damn it. Hindsight's 20/20, right? If only somebody had a big old event in the State House where all of the state lawmakers, if they just come right to the lawmakers and said, hey, this system's really crappy. If only someone could have let them know. And I get that the lawmakers are busy, so someone should have probably just gone right to Rod Bray's door. If only on his birthday, when there was a mariachi band playing, someone had brought a bunch of people, like 1,000 people, all wearing green shirts, all saying this current system is a dumpster fire, then maybe Rod Bray would have known. Gosh, if we could only go back in time, if we could only find that time machine, because clearly Rod didn't know. And why would he be expected to know? He's only the leader of the Senate. I mean, you can't expect the leader of the Senate to know the bills that they're signing into law, whether they're going to work or not. I mean, let me read you this quote. I'm going to read it in its entirety here. It's hard to get everyone's taxes to drop, though, because lots of different circumstances around the state. But we're also pleased with that. Would like that to been even a little bit better. But we're going to continue to have a conversation about property taxes. Excuse my language here, because I've vowed to have a family-friendly program. If you have small children, cover their ears. And don't hold this against me. I'm so fucking sick about the conversation. I've had the conversation for 15 years. And I know you are too. Every May, when you open your assessment, I know you're so sick of it too. I'm so over it. Every year. Yeah, we got to have a conversation about that. Yeah, we got to look into that. Yeah, we got to meet and discuss that. There's nothing left to discuss. We told you guys last year, everything you're doing is not going to work, and it hasn't worked. We've laid out how within 2 or 3 years with most people, any reduction goes away. We laid out last year, if you do this, there will be referendums all over the state. The estimate is there's going to be 100 school referendums this fall. These people play stupid. Like, oh, how would I know? How would anyone have known? We would have liked that to have been a little bit better. But then last year, they did nothing. We literally came right to them. You guys remember this? We went right to their door and said, hey, let's meet, let's talk. How many of them came? 0. Other than the 3 reps that were speaking. And one of the reps ended up voting for that horrible bill. J.D. Prescott. People are over it. They know they're getting used. They know they're getting played. They know that they're having their homes stolen from them in some cases. The people are being taxed into oblivion. The system, the way the money is disseminated, makes no sense. I mean, the whole system is broken, right? Like, let me give you an example of how stupid all of this is. How stupid all of it is. I got to go to a meeting tonight at the Brownsburg Town Hall where the school system is asking the town and the townships for money. And in exchange for that money, they won't seek a school referendum. Now, as I've said many times, our public education systems have way too much money, and that includes the Brownsburg school system. We have 2 football fields. We have 4 field houses. We have just city blocks of educational campuses. Everything is beautiful. They're not hurting for money. But I'm in support of the town and the townships giving them the money they're asking for. Why? Because our General Assembly gives the public school systems, they bitch and they bitch and they bitch about them, and then they give them all of these big, giant sticks to whack the community with. Biggest among them, the ability to put a school referendum on a ballot well, every 2 years now. And so, at least to the credit of the Brownsburg school system, unlike the 100 other ones that'll just go be lazy. By the way, referendums are never necessary. Referendums are the process of lazy, greedy school administrators and school boards who believe they're entitled to unlimited amounts of your stuff. That's what referendums are. Any school district that proposes a referendum, they are the product of lazy, greedy administrators and school board members who believe they're entitled to unlimited amounts of your stuff. And at least to Brownsburg's credit, they've said, we don't really want to deal with Rob for 6 months. So we'll ask for a small amount of money from the town and the townships in exchange for saying we're not going to do a school referendum this fall. And I have, in a very bizarre world, it's Rob and the school system aligned up together because I have spoken in support of that. And that's how bad our system is. Now, let me tell you why they have to ask for the money to begin with. Brownsburg admits they have excess money. They have enough money to not have to ask for any more money. But because of the screwed up school funding formula and the way schools are funded now, different money can only be spent on specific things. And the school in one of their funds has excess money. I'm simplifying a complex thing here for you for the brevity and the purposes of this show. This is how screwed up the system that people like Rod Bray and Jeff Thompson and Mike Braun have created, and Todd Houston and the rest of the Republicans, because they are in charge. The Republicans are in charge. They've been in charge of everything. So Brownsburg has all this excess money in their, essentially, their property tax fund, for lack of a better description. If I had 3 hours for the whole thing on this, I could go into in depth on it, but just for brevity. They have excess money in their property tax fund. They said, hey, we're having some issue paying our teachers. We want to be able to give them more money. Just let us move this money from the property tax fund over to this other fund over here. That's all we want to do. State. We don't want to ask for any more money. We don't want to do a referendum. All we want to do is just move the money. And everybody will be fine. You know what the state said? Kiss our butt cheeks. Nope, we're not going to let you do that. Because we know better, and we have our formula, and it doesn't matter what common sense would dictate. And so that left the school system, because, of course, they're not going to do with less money. They said, well, we have two options. We can either go for a referendum, or we can ask the town and the townships for money, and that's what they're doing. So I, as a taxpayer, I'm like, well, I really don't want them to have more money, because I don't think they're great with the money they have. But if you ask me which one I'm going to prefer, another layer of government giving money who also I don't think spends the money wisely, the town, or a referendum and my taxes potentially go up, I'm going to take that every time. I'm going to take my taxes being lower every time. Are you guys like, and again, there's going to be 100 or more school systems likely who are just going to take the easy way out and go, we'll just go for a tax increase. If it fails, well, we'll come back in 2 years and try it again. This is the system we have. This is the system we've created. And our lawmakers, and the chief among them, Rod Bray, says, well, we're pleased with that. Rod Bray says he's pleased. Mike Braun said the same thing. Don't just dump on Bray. Braun got asked about it earlier this year, and he goes, oh, no, people are happy with the property tax system. People like what's going on. Weren't they running ads telling people to call and thank Braun for this fabulous system he's put in place? It's all gross. It's all broken. And it's not going to get any better until we stop, not fix, but stop taxing people based on what some other person sold their home for. And some summer study committee where they're going to get a couple of reports from the DLGF, that is not going to change anything. Hey, guys, if you're thinking about what to do this weekend, take a trip that's a little out of the way, but totally worth the drive. Head out to Brazil to see my friends, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. This place, awesome. It's on the water. It's got outdoor seating. It's a perfect, peaceful evening away where you can relax, breathe, and enjoy a made-from-scratch meal. Or as they like to call it at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil, Hoosier Grub. Now, their menu is amazing. Google them, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. You can see everything for yourself. And lots of great choices. But they recommend the Hoosier Breaded Tenderloin, which they think in all modesty is the best in the state. Also, while you're there, before you leave, you got to get one of their made-from-scratch dessert pies. Down-home food made with love. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro is Hoosier hospitality. In fact, it's so Hoosier hospitality, the restaurant literally in the home of the owners, Andy and Jody. How about that? They opened their house up, literally. Open Friday and Saturday for dinner, Sunday buffet for brunch. Reserve your spot today. Try something different this weekend. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil, 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, now they're pondering a special session for the gas tax. You won't believe what the governor said when he got asked about that. We'll tell you next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Before we get to this potential of a special session on the gas tax, couple of homework assignments for you guys. Number one, hit the like button. That is huge for us, growing this program every single day, and that is where you come in. If you haven't done so yet, takes 2 seconds, such a huge help. Hit that thumbs up button on the YouTube. If you're one of these people who's hearing my voice right now, if you're listening on the Apple or the Spotify, give us a 5-star review. Let people know. Also, share the feed. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitter, we get people all the time that say, so-and-so put the feed out, and I saw it, and I was looking for something new to listen to or watch. This is great. That really helps, guys. You have no idea how much that helps us. Just a simple share on Facebook, on Twitter. Such a huge help. Share the feed. And last but certainly not least, if you haven't done so, if you're new to the channel today, live or on demand, welcome. Subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to our channel. It really helps us. Thank you so much. We call it like, we call it share, we call it subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and share the feed. That's how you can really help us. Also, other ways that you can participate in this program that is extremely helpful, head over to robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. Hit the support button. If you like what we do, take some ownership in the show with us. I mean, not literal ownership, but you know what I mean. Like, don't be a dine and dasher. Contribute to the program. Keep Jason eating every day. He's got to have a Snickers bar and a large Coke from McDonald's. Diet Coke. That's why you're so fit. Just know that's where it's going, right? It's helping Jason get his candy bar and his large Diet Coke from McDonald's every single day. Hit the support button, robkendallshow.com. Thanks to Kevin and Vanita and Cliff, and our pal C Mills was in there yesterday. Old C Mills, trucker extraordinaire. They all hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com. Thanks to everybody who so often is there, and I try to send emails to every single person. I love hearing back from you guys when I send those emails, hearing your story about how you found the show, why you listen. Support button, robkendallshow.com, and also robkendallshow.com. Live show, June the 27th. Tickets are going very quick. Very quick. Great so far. Great sales. Don't wait. Remember, we warned you guys last time, that show we had in the spring. If you wait, they're going to sell out. And then there's not much we can do about it. So go ahead and get them today. robkendallshow.com. The link is right there, top of the page. Get those tickets. Come hang out with us June the 27th. Mad Hatter Comedy Club, Event Center in Greenwood. We're going to have a rocking time. If you get the VIP, the lower level seats, every one of those is going to have a meet and greet with them as well. We are doing this as a celebration of you guys. Jason, myself, I guess it would be me and Jason. Producer Jason. Well, yeah. Not Hammer. Hammer's not involved in this one. It's just us. We want to say thank you to you guys for helping us grow this show. You have helped us exceed all of our expectations. I think this is week 11 that we're in. Sounds right. And the numbers have been phenomenal. The growth is phenomenal. And it's all because of you guys. And we know many of you have formed such a bond with your friends in the YouTube chat. We said this would be a great way to get everybody together, have fun on hopefully what will be a beautiful summer evening. June the 27th. Come hang out with us. Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Get those tickets. Link available, robkendallshow.com. Hey, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup can all cause damage that can end up in expensive repair. On your driveway, on your sidewalk, on your patio, any concrete surface around your home, it can have major damage done to it that can be very expensive to fix. That's where our friends at Seal Now come in. Great supporters of the Rob Kendall Show. SealNow.com. That's where you can find them. The clean, seal, and stain professionals. But they also do more than just driveways, patios. They do decks, they do fences, they do pergolas. Any outdoor wood or concrete structure, Seal Now can bring it back to life. See their work, SealNow.com. Get a free estimate there. You can see other projects that might be similar to yours. And best of all, when you call the folks at Seal Now, when you get in touch with the folks at Seal Now, you mentioned you heard about them on our show, and you're going to get an amazing, an incredible 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off any long-term sealing project just by saying, I heard about you on the Rob Kendall Show. An unbelievable deal. SealNow.com. Hey, good news, guys. Suddenly, everyone is concerned about the gas tax. Pah! What do you know? All it took was gas getting to $5 a gallon. That's it. That's all the pain it took for finally, after 9 going on 10 years of me bitching about this, and being told to sit down and shut up, and I didn't get it, and they being the General Assembly were the responsible ones. Finally, everyone is on Team Rob Kendall. Everyone's so concerned about the taxes on gas now. To the point that when Rod Bray was asked yesterday well, he was asked Tuesday, I guess, about whether he would support a special session to extend the pause on the gas tax. So let's explain this. So legally, Braun, last month, suspended the sales tax on gas. Then he announced that he was suspending for another month the sales tax on gas and the gas tax, the excise tax. Legally, he can only do that for 2 months. So at the end of this month, his time will be up at June the 7th, I think is the day, and he cannot do that going any further without the permission of the General Assembly, which, since the General Assembly is not in session right now, that means they would have to call a special session. So Rod Bray got asked about the special session for gas to extend these gas tax suspensions, and he said, quote, according to the Capitol Chronicle, "We haven't had that conversation with the governor yet, but certainly would when asked whether he'd be supportive of a special session." So Rod Bray, the pro tem of the Senate, saying he is in support of a special session, if needed, for the governor to suspend the gas tax, to further the governor's suspension of the gas tax. Braun got asked about this and said he hasn't made a decision about calling a special session to lengthen the pause. As usual, when he got asked about something, he put out a whole bunch of word salad. We'll read it to you and try to make some sense. That would happen if, in fact, both chambers were willing to do it. And at this stage of the game, there's not been a discussion on it. Let me go back to the most important part of that word salad there. That would happen if, in fact, both chambers were willing to do it. Now, that's important because, once again, Braun has reverted back to, well, if the General Assembly wants it, then I'll call the special session. If not, I'm not going to fight for it. Which is exactly what he said during property taxes. Remember that? He was like, I signed the bill, and I didn't veto it, and I didn't call a special session because the General Assembly wouldn't have done anything, so it was pointless. And we were like, wow, it's a pretty weak way to lead. Doesn't really sound like the guy that rolled up his sleeves at our property tax rally when everyone was yelling, fight, fight, fight. But okay, if that's your standard operating procedure with the General Assembly, well, if they want it, then I'll do it. If not, I'm just going to hide in a corner and say sorry for having ideas. Okay. But that wasn't what Braun did with redistricting. Now, was it? In fact, Braun was told repeatedly by Rod Bray and others, there's not the votes to do redistricting. Please don't do it. He called the special session anyway. So when it's trying to save you money on property taxes, well, no, the General Assembly doesn't want it. When it's potentially saving you a whole bunch of money, by the way, I saved, it was $391 I paid today. But I got a hell of a bargain. Because of the suspension of the gas taxes.
You're president.
Yes, we are president. We'll deal with you later, Jason, producer Jason. But when it comes to helping you with your finances, are you seeing a trend here? When it comes to helping you with your finances, well, if the General Assembly wants it, then I'll do it. But if not, there's no point. But when it came to being subservient to Donald Trump, and Braun was told repeatedly there aren't the votes there, he called the special session. Donald Trump is more important, far more, infinitely more important to Mike Braun than you are. Why is it that when it comes to helping us, it's subserviency to the General Assembly? When it comes to helping Trump, he'll go to the ends of the earth. The average price for a gallon of gas in Indianapolis, according to AAA, on Tuesday was $4.32. The average last week was $4.78. Now, that price is down because of the suspension of the gas taxes, but if you do the math on this, gas has actually gone up. So if the price was $4.78 and he suspended the sales tax on gas, the gas tax, you put that together, gas is fluid, but I mean, if he hadn't done that, the price of gas probably actually would have gone up. By the way, the average for the state of Indiana last February this past February? $2.68. Huh. So let's just use $4.78 as the base price, right? Because he suspended the sales tax on gas, or the gas tax. Sales tax had already been suspended. $4.78 is the price of gas. Well, actually, it would be more than that when you take out the sales tax suspension. So let's just say we went from $2.68 to $5 a gallon because there were no gas tax suspensions in February. The price of gas in February was the actual price of gas with all the taxes in it. If you take away all the taxes that Braun has suspended, looking at about $5 a gallon. $2 and we'll be fair and say $2.25 a gallon difference. For what? What are we getting for $2.25 for every gallon of gas you buy? You have a 10-gallon tank. I know most of them are bigger than mine. I have a 10-gallon tank. It's $22.50 difference. $22 plus every time you fill up your gas tank. What are you getting for that? How is your government getting better? How is your life improving? I don't think that case has been made. And I think until the case gets made, people are going to remain really pissed off. Hey, guys, don't leave your biggest investment to chance. And for most of you, that's your home. That's buying or selling your home. Usually they happen together, right? Work with Lauren Wilson. Lauren's a realtor who is Hoosier through and through, military vet, and dedicated to a higher standard of service. Real estate is about big life changes. Don't do it alone. And don't just do it with somebody you got out of the phone book or you saw on a billboard. Get to know the person that's going to serve as your realtor. Lauren Wilson welcomes that. Have an interview process. Ask hard questions. Find out how that person is going to be your advocate on the buying and selling front. Whether you're growing for a family, downsizing for retirement, all points in between, get to know Lauren Wilson. Lauren Wilson with At Properties. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Seriously, guys, when you hire a realtor, it should be an interview process. It should be just like hiring somebody, an employee. Don't just take the first person. Get to know them. Ask hard questions. That's what Lauren Wilson welcomes. How she'll explain how she can help you lay out that plan to make your buying and selling experience the best it can be. 317-590-2290. All right, we're nearing an end, at least of phase one of the Spencer Deery, Paula Copenhaver, less than 5 votes Senate election. There was some big news on that yesterday. We will update you on what's going on. And we've got to talk about the complete freakouts from some people, because I had the audacity to write a column in the Indy Star with pretty common sense predictions about what might happen if the Republicans pick Diego to be their nominee. People get so mad when you point out the obvious about Diego instead of doing something about the obvious about Diego. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558. Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. I think moving this chair, and I think I got dirt on my face. I think that's what it was. We got these boxes today. Look, guys, we don't kid you about what's going on here. We are a two-man operation. Oh, the chair swivels, by the way. We got one of our new chairs today. And Jason and I moved it up, carried it up. I think there was dirt on the box. We had to carry the box up the stairs, get the box in, cut it out, get the chair done, get everything set up. And Jason's like in the break, he's like, hey, you got dirt on your face. I was like, really?
Only an hour in.
Really? Like, I mean, again, this is not like some huge setup here. Although I've got to bring those computer monitors. That might help. But he's like, no, it's on the shadow side. You're fine. Nobody noticed it. Really? Did this show dirt on my face? Say something about it? But it's gone?
Gone.
Okay. Jeez Louise. It's like the TV equivalent of like going around with your fly open or something, right? It's a video now. I gotta have a clean face. Now everybody's gonna go back and rewind. Guys, it's a Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, hit that like button, guys. I know it's a broken record, but man, does it really help us grow this program, and that's what this show's all about. And we're getting the numbers, guys. When Jason and I started, we came up with sort of some targets for ourselves of how we were going to judge how the show is progressing, what we were doing. Because the goal is not just for us to be here and talk every day. A year from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a month from now, we have targets for ourselves that we keep trying to hit to judge, hey, long term, is this the thing we're going to do? And man, we are hitting all of those marks. And you guys are a huge part of that. So when we ask you to do these things, there's a method to the madness. I know it's work. I know I just came here to watch or listen to this fabulous program. But we ask you to do these things. It really helps. Take 2 seconds, hit that thumbs up button. Really helps us grow the show. Hey, and by the way, we're 3 hours now. We started at 2. We're 3 now. Thanks to our friend John Rust. He has graciously made it possible for us to have that third hour to talk about more topics related to Indiana news and politics and government that you just can't get anywhere else. And look, if you were getting it somewhere else, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. That's what's so amazing to me is people don't get why we're so successful. Somebody yesterday got mad on, I think it was Facebook, and they were mad about the Diego article, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But it was hilarious. They were like, why do people keep giving you platforms? Because people consume what I do. That's why people keep giving me platforms. Like he's angry that you exist. Why are you breathing air? Like people give platforms to people who are successful at stuff. Like the Star wasn't just like, oh, Rob's so magnanimous. Oh, we love Rob's views. The Star probably hates a lot of my politics. They give me a platform because you guys consume, because you guys are awesome. You're the best audience in the whole world. You consume what we do. And one of the things that's amazing to me is that when I left IBC, there were these politicians doing this happy dance, and it was like, wait, you're like, and they were openly doing it on social media. You're an elected official, and your joy out of life is that some member of the media isn't at the place that he just was? Like, that's what brings you joy? Not fighting for taxpayers, not fixing property taxes, gas taxes, utility bills, cleaning up the corruption in the government you're supposed to oversee. Your great joy in life is that a radio guy isn't on the radio station anymore. And they're public about it. It wasn't like some private deal where you won't believe what so-and-so said. But speaking of that, though, I will say this. Shortly after I got let go from IBC, a very prominent Republican, somebody you guys would absolutely know who this person is if I told you, they came to me and they said, I had an engagement with the governor, and one of the first things out of his mouth was, hey, did you hear Rob got fired at IBC? I said, like the governor? He goes, yeah, the governor. He said, like, I said, you brought it? No, he goes, he brought it up. I said, why? He goes, I don't know. It's like the governor of the state of Indiana, like just of his own free will and volition, just looked at you and said, did you hear Rob Kendall got fired at IBC? He goes, yeah, that's exactly what happened. These politicians were happy that I got let go because they thought it was the end of you getting the information. They thought me getting let go, I mean, they hate my guts, but they hate my guts because I'm not accountable to them. I never was. And I would say things and talk about things and talk about them in a way nobody else would. And they thought, because and I was thinking about this last night, the sort of the history of our business is, hey, guy gets let go of the place he's been at forever. He either goes away and ends up selling insurance somewhere. And nothing wrong if you sell insurance. It's great. It's a fine way to make a living. Or they go to another market. Because the platforms, the radio stations, are more powerful than the broadcaster. So if you get let go off of your platform and you don't have that place anymore, well, you just cease to exist. And foolishly, that's the way the politicians thought it was going to be with me. The only problem for them is I'm different than everyone else. I'm different than every single other person in media in this city. It's why we're popular wherever we go. It's why I didn't panic when it happened. I knew wherever we went, you guys would make it possible for us to succeed. The politicians don't get it because we have something they don't have, which is a bond. Think about of all our politicians in the state, who would you say, man, that politician is there because of the bond they have with their voters? They're there because of an unbreakable bond of, a relationship that they have with their voters. Like if any of these people went down, and we just saw it with the election the other night, last week now, I guess. These people were luminaries, or so we were told were luminaries. Jim Buck, Travis Holdman, Greg Walker. People threw them out without thinking twice about it because they don't have a bond with the audience. What's Greg Walker going to do now? Is he going to turn around and run for state rep and win? No. Is Jim Buck? No. Is Travis Holdman? No. They're done. Their political careers are over. Because it was about power gained from an institution. The power they have is derived from an institution, not from the bond with the voters, the relationship with the voters. So once they're kicked out of the institution, they're done. Mine, I was made by you. You, the audience, made me, and only you, the audience, can break me. I heard Rush Limbaugh say that when Donald Trump first started running for president. He said Trump is different, and the establishment can't figure it out because the establishment didn't make him, the media didn't make him, the media can't break him. And that's the way it is with us. our bond will always be greater than any platform. I said and did things that nobody else would say or do because I was doing it for you, because that was your voice. Those are the things you thought. We have defied all expectations so far because we are the voice of you. People find us when you share our stuff. People find us and they stay because we're different. Because people hear this and they go, yeah, that's how I think. We were willing to take on Tom Kleinhelter, the Mid-States Corridor, the governor, the lieutenant governor, all of these people, Diego. Because the relationship, our business model, the business model that Jason and I have now, is about a bond with you. No other radio guy, if he got fired from his job, would be able to go out and sell advertising like we have. But the advertisers buy because they know about the bond. And the bond is you will contact the people who support us. It's not rocket science. So these politicians, when I got fired, they did a happy dance because they thought it was over. And I tried to say from the beginning, you have no idea what's about to happen. Because now we will, one, be able to talk about the things we want to talk about as much as we want to talk about them, as long as we want to talk about them. But also now we are open to new platforms. I'll be able to reach new people in new platforms I was not able to before. And that's a big part of this for me. Look, everybody on IBC already knows what my views are on things. I've already reached all of those people. We weren't getting anybody new to come in. It's just the death of the radio industry. We've done many segments on that. It's not anything against IBC or Urban One. The radio industry's dying. Fewer and fewer people consume radio every single year. It's still an important medium, but you weren't getting new people. There's not advertising for radio stations like there used to be. We have more think about this, guys. I have more advertising now in my podcast, in 2 months of doing a podcast, than in the 9 years I was on IBC combined. Think about just with the billboards. We never had that. We have John, the Black Sheep Plumbing guy. He's driving around the city with the Rob Kendall Show stickers on his truck now. We never had any of that. Radio has lost its way. The creativity, dead, done. It's been sucked out because corporations can't be creative. Corporations can't be creative. Hammer and I proved with the live show. We wanted to do that live show for years, and we couldn't get any traction on it. And it was gangbusters. It's so relatively easy for us to do. I mean, it's a lot of work. But I love work. And so when I got let go, I looked at it as, here are all these new platforms that I can tap into that I never had access to before. New ways to reach new people. And that brings us to the Indie Star. And the column I wrote yesterday that people who love Diego are losing their minds over. It's so amazing to me how dense people are, how inside the box they see everything. I told you guys, I said, look, these people who run elections, these political people, they all operate from about 1 to 4 playbooks. I've been around it long enough to see it, and it always amazes me. That's why I said, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I preface this by saying I do not want to run for any political office. I don't desire to be in political office. I don't want to be the governor. And I know I'm honored when you guys say that, but I don't want that. I love what we do here. But I've said if I raised $10 million, I'd be the governor of the state of Indiana. Without a doubt in my mind. We would steamroll every person we were running against of the 2 political parties, any person we would come up against. Why? Because these candidates are plastic people. And the people who run their campaigns are plastic people. They're paper pushers. They work out of a playbook. There's about 4, maybe 5 of them. Our candidate is this. Our office is this. The personality is this. Here's your playbook. Thank you. It's why they're all so boring. The candidates don't know what they're doing. They rely on these consultants, these highly paid people, and they don't take any risk, and they just do whatever they're told. And these consultants, these consulting firms who make huge money, they operate out of like 4 or 5 basic little playbooks. If I ran for something and I had the money to pull, I mean, you got to have the money, right? It would take a lot of money. But we would run a campaign that nobody's ever seen before, and there would be no response to it. They would respond to it, but they would respond in ways that would be totally ineffective because they don't know. They don't know. They just do. Here's what I've learned. Like, why has this thing been successful? Why has nobody else done what we're doing? Because all the media people just operate out of a playbook. Oh, I work here. It's all about the platform. It's all about the radio station or the TV station. Well, I got fired here, so I guess I'm done. Now I go work for a nonprofit, or I go sell cars. Again, there's nothing wrong with any of those professions. Just the first 2 things that popped in my mind. This has always been here. James Briggs from the Star pointed this out a couple of weeks ago when we did a podcast together. And he said, I can't believe nobody else has done this. I said, yeah, me either. And I thought about it for years. And to Jason's credit, Jason for years was like, you need to get out of IBC and do this. My wife for years said the same thing. This has been open to people for years and years and years. Nobody took advantage of it because people think inside their own little boxes. They just see what's right in front of them. They don't see a bigger picture. They don't see down the road what the next step is. They don't see 5 steps ahead. And so that brings me to this column I wrote in the Star yesterday that you guys can read now about just like the most basic of stuff, the most common sense in my mind of, hey, if the Republicans pick Diego, here's what I think is going to happen. It doesn't mean it's chiseled in stone. It doesn't mean it's going to be 100% right. It was just simply, hey, knowing politics the way I do, knowing people the way I do, knowing you the way I do, nobody is more in touch with regular people than me. That's why it was so dangerous to the politicians, because they knew I represented you and saying, I know people. Here's what I think is going to happen if the Republicans pick Diego. And what's amazing to me is the first thing people started attacking was the platform. The liberal Indy Star. Oh, okay. I don't think anybody's going to call me a liberal. Kendall's gone full lib this or lib that. He's working for the Star now. What about the content of that article was liberal? The content of the article is Diego is a walking, talking scandal. He is a human gaffe machine. He's totally unhinged if you get him remotely off of his game. I've seen it firsthand. I pay for India. I pay. What the hell? What? While people are eating their chicken? The fake WIBC. He's at some motor vehicle advisory board meeting. The fake WIBC, the fake Indy Star. What? Like, this is obvious to anybody paying attention. And that's the column, is he's a disaster. And Ballard, because I think, and I wrote the column operating from the standpoint, Ballard's going to get on the ballot. It doesn't mean he is. Obviously, if he doesn't, it all goes out the window. Just said knowing what I know, knowing the people who are running Ballard's campaign, having some information that's not public, I think he's going to easily get on the ballot. And the response from people was not the article itself initially. It was, Kendall, he got fired from IBC and now he's stooped to writing for the Star. The Star has tens of thousands of subscribers. The Star has more subscribers than I had listeners on IBC. That's just subscribers, much less the people who might have ways to share stories with other people if it's a subscription-based, because some of the Star stuff is subscription-based, some is not. It's the paper of record in our city. At no point was James Briggs, when he came to me, or Jacob Stewart, when they came to me and asked me to write for the Star. Now, Rob, you got to be super liberal in your columns when you write for us because our readers are liberal. Newsflash, lots of Republicans read the Indy Star. They might not like it, but they read it. Like, I was laughing hysterically at that. He got fired from IBC, and he's so mad about it, all he's got left is the Star. I've told you guys for years, and this is the great thing about this show. I can just be as candid with you as I want to be. I told you guys for years, everybody gets fired in radio. The bell tolls for everyone. I've been fired multiple times before I got to IBC. And I've told you guys that every second I spent at IBC was like a gift from above. It was borrowed time, and I was thankful for every bit of it. The only thing I'm upset about with what happened with IBC is how it went down. And some people who I felt were not in touch with the honesty police. And maybe someday we'll talk about that. But I have no bitterness towards Urban One from the standpoint of me being fired. They didn't want this. Great, I'm doing it somewhere else. Me working for the Star isn't about bitterness. Me going to write for the Star was about, hey, they gave me a platform and they don't tell me what to say. Here's how it works. They give me a couple ideas. Would you be interested in writing about this or that? And by the way, the things they ask me, they prompt me on, guys, are the topics on this show. They watch this show. And then they say, hey, I heard you do this segment on this. Would you be interested in writing a column? Or I heard you tweet about this. Or I saw you tweet. Would you be interested in doing a column? They don't come to me and go, our liberal board said these are the 5 liberal topics you can write about. That's not how this works, guys. They let me write about whatever I want to write about in the voice of Rob Kendall. They don't tell me what to say. The only thing they edit for, they link, they put links when I prompt on stuff, stories, etc. They'll clean up if there's grammar or spelling or whatever. And then before they even publish it, they send it to me and go, hey, here's the little changes we made. Are you okay with these? That's it. And they gave me a platform of, a lot of them are new people. A lot of them are people I was never able to reach on IBC because IBC, like any other radio station, essentially has a growth cap. Any radio station does. Unless they're doing, unless it's Bob and Tom or Q95 in the 1980s and they're, billboards and TV ads and everything. And that just doesn't happen anymore for any radio station. So, I just laugh hysterically at the people who their only response, because they're mad. This is what's going on, guys, and this is what you need to realize, and this is where it affects you. They're mad that you still have a voice. That's what they're pissed off about. They're mad that I didn't go away because they wanted you to go away. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Their happiness wasn't just that I'm gone, it was that you weren't going to get the information anymore. Somebody with a voice and a platform and who didn't care wasn't going to be able to talk to you. Well, it's blowing up in their face. The podcast is doing great. The Indy Star column is doing great. And to me, what Indy Star represented was a chance to reach new people who had never heard or thought about the things that I like to talk about in the way I like to talk about them before. That's what they're mad about. They're not mad about they're mad about the content of the columns because it's still getting to people. But now they can't say, oh, well, it's super liberal Professor so-and-so. No, it's Rob Kendall, an elected Republican who Rob Kendall's brand is. He takes on the Republicans for not behaving like Republicans. They hate the idea of free speech. They hate the idea of people having a voice. They hate the idea that they don't control it. You know, this is the thing I saw in the State House when I worked in the State House. And I know we're going long on this segment, but I think it's important. I think this is really important stuff for you guys to know. When I worked in the State House, I saw how they tried to treat people when they fired them or they got rid of them. I've told you this story before, not in great detail, but maybe I will someday. The first state auditor when I went in, I went to work for state auditor. I was asked to come in. I didn't go pleading for a job in the Indiana State House. I was asked to come in. And the state auditor who they had brought in, Pence appointed the state auditor when Tim Berry became the party chairman. He was the auditor, and then that created a vacancy. I had a working relationship with the person they had appointed to be state auditor. They said, this guy's comfortable around you. You've been very helpful to him in his other government capacity. Will you come in so that he has some familiarity in this new position? This was a local government official they appointed to be state auditor. He, in hindsight, had no business being in that position. Not his fault. It's Mike Pence's fault. Because Mike Pence appointed somebody based on things that had nothing to do with their ability to do the job, but the boxes that they checked, which was going to look good for him. And so I said, yes. I said, I'll come in and I'll do whatever I can to help this person because I want our state to succeed. And by the way, guys, this is 2013. I was still a white hat, black hat person. I was learning quickly that Republicans aren't always wearing the white hats. But I wasn't as hip to it as I am certainly today or even would become. And after a few months, it became pretty clear that person was in over their skis. They weren't going to be able to do the job. It wasn't for them. And Mike Pence bullied that person into quitting. Instead of Pence admitting he made a mistake, admitting I picked somebody not based on their ability to do the job, again, not that person's fault. They didn't do anything wrong. Any person would have taken the job if it was offered to them. Instead of Pence coming out going, I made a huge mistake, guys, and I've encouraged this person to step aside so we can get somebody better in there who can better serve the Hoosiers, who's more comfortable in the position. I made a huge mistake. I screwed up. No, what they did is Pence and his goons bullied this guy behind closed doors because they knew he was totally overwhelmed. And then he quit. And then when the media asked Pence why did he quit, Pence goes, I have no idea. You'll have to ask him. And I remember watching all of this in the State House in real time going, Mike Pence, who I thought was above reproach and so admired, looked right into camera and lied to everyone. They bullied this guy out. I was there the whole time. I saw it all go down. He's lying. And I'm watching all of this. And then I realized in the State House, in the government, amongst the connected people, when they tell you to go, you go. When they tell you to be subservient, you be subservient. When they tell you go away, you go away. They don't care about you. They don't care about taking care of you. They don't care about looking out for you. They're just used to people doing whatever they say. That's how the political class operates. We're the boss. We're in charge. We have the power. We control the money. You do what we say. And most people do it. I don't know, is that a fear, intimidation, lack of knowledge? I don't know. But I saw that and I said, I am never, ever going to allow those people to operate that way with me. Or anyone else for that matter. I am in control of my own destiny. And I saw it play out with my situation. Oh, he's gone from IBC. It's over for him. Well, no, it's not. You don't get to decide that. You know who decides that? You, the people watching or hearing me right now. You decide that. And so these people are outraged. To bring this back to this column I wrote yesterday about Diego, no one disputes the math of what I'm talking about. The column itself is about how the likelihood of Greg Ballard succeeding as the Lincoln Party and Bo Bai succeeding as the Democrat nominee if Diego Morales is the Republican nominee. Not one person, and there were some people who said some vile stuff about me yesterday for writing that. Well, get in line. That line's long. That's a long line, guys. It doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. You guys should know that by now. I spent 9 years with pretty much every day some politician trying to get me fired. Done whatever. But nobody disputes the content of the article, which is an article about math. It's an article about here's how many people voted against the Diego and for the Libertarian in 2022 because they couldn't stand him. Now tack 4 years worth of scandals onto it. Now tack a guy who's a beloved former mayor of Indianapolis, Republican, a guy who will raise millions of dollars in Ballard. And then you have a Democrat nominee who's infinitely better or will be infinitely better if indeed Bo Bai is the nominee and better funded than Diego's challenger was 4 years ago. Why would anybody think something different is going to happen here? Why would anything think, yeah, he's absolutely right. But these people hate the political insider class, which Diego is. Diego is the establishment. He's protected by the establishment. He's funded by the establishment. He operates as the establishment. The establishment, the political insider class, the people that support them, that are on the gravy train, they can't stand when you hold up the mirror and make them look. And that's what we do every day here. We hold the mirror up for the politicians and say, look at it. Here's what you are. Here's who you're supporting. I had somebody who is very connected in the State House yesterday call me, and they were laughing about the response to the article, and they said, you're absolutely right on all of this. They said, your math is on. The likelihood of this stuff happening is spot on. And if the Republicans, I mean, the answer is so odd, and this is what we were, when we talked for probably 20 minutes, and the person said the answer, which you've put in front of them, is the right answer. You're not saying don't pick a Republican, you're saying don't pick Diego. There's an obviously qualified candidate running against Diego in David Shelton. And David Shelton, and this person acknowledged this, said, eliminates all of the Republicans' problems. Bo Bai is already running the anti-Diego campaign. If it ain't Diego, he's got nothing. He's got nothing. What's his case against a competent, respected county clerk who is going to be running with two other non-controversial Republicans in Elise Nishala and the state treasurer, Daniel Elliott? Sorry, Daniel. I had just a blank spot in my brain there. I was like, the guy, he's on our show all the time. Jeez Louise. You guys try talking for 3 hours a day. But the whole Bo Bai campaign is going to be centered. It already is now. It already is. Listen to him talk. He was on our show. We talked to him for 30 minutes. They have nothing if Diego's not the nominee. Ballard, same thing. Ballard's whole campaign is going to be politics is broken. This guy's a dirtbag. He probably won't use the phrase dirtbag because he's very distinguished. But his whole campaign is going to be politics is broken. The Republican Party keeps nominating unqualified goofballs. And this guy is a walking, talking scandal, and I'm the adult in the room. You know, Bo Bai is a child compared to Greg Ballard. And I like Bo Bai. I'm not saying it as a negative. He's qualified to run. He's the correct age, etc. He's a kid. He's a kid. Bo Bai, if we're being honest, right now is running on his birth certificate. That's his campaign. The Bo Bai campaign is going to be Diego is a piece of garbage, and here are all the scandals, and here's all the crap he's pulled, and here's my birth certificate. Look at my last name. Oh, and I bear a very strong resemblance to my father. And it probably is going to work for him if it's Bo, and it's Ballard, and it's Diego. He will probably be the winner. All of this goes away. Both the Ballard campaign and the Bai campaign if the Republicans don't pick Diego. And so does 90% of the entertainment I need this fall for show content. It's not controversial. Everybody who's remotely honest admits it, and yet people are so angry that somebody with a platform says it who isn't beholden. And by the way, I'm not a liberal, and they can't say that about me. All they can say is, he's stooped to writing for the liberal Indy Star. How far he has fallen. Never minding that more people will see the Star column than heard me on IBC. That's it. The problem lies not in Rob Kendall writing an article in the Star about how bad Diego is. The problem lies in the Republican delegates and the Republican power structure propping up Diego Morales. By the way, I got some data yesterday. I started digging on some stuff. You know, Ballard's got to get these 37,000 signatures to get on the ballot, 37,000 verified signatures. I started looking into what other states are, like how prohibitive our ballot access laws are in Indiana, which we talked about this. We talked about this with John Rust last week, about this two-party rule thing. Now they want to close out the primaries. I started looking into what are other states, like how many signatures do other states require to get on their ballots as an independent? You want to take a listen to some of these states? Just the states around us. Let's just take the states around us. Illinois, 25,000. So a third fewer than Indiana. Michigan, 12,000. 2/3 fewer than Indiana. Kentucky, 5,000. 1/7 the signatures of the state of Indiana. The Republicans have so rigged this system because they don't want competition. And the Democrats go along with it because they don't really want competition either, although they're thrilled to death to have the independent competition in the Secretary of State's race. Here's one other thing that I was thinking about yesterday that nobody wants to talk about. And look, I have said, and I will stand behind this, right now I don't think Greg Ballard can win. I do think he can do very well. I do think he can stop Diego from winning. I do think he will blow past the 10% primary ballot access threshold. I think he'll be competitive. But I was thinking about this yesterday, and it's true. Because the Republicans have been so anti-Ballard, the guy they once propped up, viewed as a hero, the infallible Mr. Ballard, when he was the mayor of Indianapolis, because they've been so disgustingly anti-Ballard and so hypocritically anti-Ballard, and Ballard has gotten so much media attention, can you imagine the amount of media attention he's going to get if he gets those signatures? If Greg Ballard, do you know what 37,000 signatures looks like, guys? Because the way this works is they get verified at the county, and then I think you take them and you turn them in to the Secretary of State's office. Do you know how many signatures? I have seen the 4,500 signatures be turned in, which is what it is to run for Congress. Or I'm sorry, for U.S. Senate or for governor. You have to get 4,500 verified signatures. I've seen what 4,500 looks like when I worked for a U.S. Senate campaign. The visual effect of 37,000 signatures getting turned in and the media attention Ballard's going to get when he does that across the state, he will instantly shoot up in the polls, instantly shoot up in name recognition. He will get so much free earned media out of turning in 37,000 signatures and the visual effect of those signatures being displayed for everyone to see, to show what he did on his own against the system. Again, I stand by, I'm not sure he can win, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, he really is going to get a ton of publicity. And if Ballard gets enough publicity, that's more and more votes he will take away from Diego. I'm excited for it. The best thing for our state long term is going to be that Diego on the ballot with Ballard and by. And look, Republicans are going to be mad at me all they want. it ain't going to change the way the voters judge Diego this fall. Hey, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in your basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialist. BramwellMackay.com. All right, we'll take a break. A lot more to get to when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434, and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Rob Kendall Show. Help us grow. Hit that thumbs up button. Support our show. Hit the thumbs up button. Like the program. Share the program today. Wherever you're at, let us know. Let the people know. Instead of let my people go, it's let the people know. Sharing it Facebook, Twitter, all the places. Help us grow this program. RobKendallShow.com is our website. We've got the support button up there. If you like what we do, if you want to contribute to the program, if you say, hey, I want to let Rob know I like what he's doing, that support button's a great way. Support button, RobKendallShow.com. And then also we got the link for the live show, tickets for the live show, June the 27th, Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Click that button at the top of RobKendallShow.com. Get your tickets. We're going to have a blast together. We're going to hang out together. We're going to tell some jokes. We're going to roast some politicians. We're going to bring the smoke, have a meet and greet as part of it. It's all going down June the 27th. Live Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood. Great way to spend a summer Saturday night. Hey, it's Thursday. That means that is between Wednesday and Saturday, and that means Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is open. And it'll be a great place for you to have lunch today, dinner tonight, or get there before Sunday. We love Double D's Barbecue. The owners, Tina and Dennis Duncan, their son Garrett, from Memphis, they take great pride in their barbecue. It's authentic, wood-smoked, Memphis-style barbecue. They're not messing around. These people from Memphis, guys. I met with Tina and her son, Garrett, before they came on the program with us. They're very serious about their barbecue. No joking around. They make all their food fresh, scratch daily, make all their own sauces. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. Tina, the owner, she worked at Graceland, so it's Elvis themed. It's awesome. It's a little out of the way. It's on 40, right near the corner of 40 and 39, but it's totally worth the trip. I know many, many of you have gone. You've raved about it. Get out there. Check it out. Let us know you went. Let them know you're there. Heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show. Great service, friendly atmosphere, cool decorum, and most importantly, awesome food. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. All right, guys, we got an update in the Spencer Deery Paula Copenhaver race. This is the race. If somebody ever tells you your vote doesn't matter, I ask you to show them the vote tally in the Spencer Deery Paula Copenhaver vote, the vote total in that race. It was, let's see, it was 2 votes starting yesterday. Park County had a hearing on a provisional ballot. Park County awarded that provisional ballot to Spencer Deery. So Spencer Deery now has a 3-vote lead. There is 1 county left remaining, that is Tippecanoe County. They have 2 provisional ballots to count. So Spencer Deery, at least on the initial count, is declaring victory, because even if both of those ballots went to Copenhaver, Deery would still be 1 vote ahead, which is a possibility. We don't know who those people voted for. We don't know if the ballots will be counted. A lot of times provisional ballots get tossed out. They don't count. But if they do, we don't know who they went for yet. Now, Tippecanoe County went 2-1 in favor of Deery. So the theory is they're going to be Deery voters, but you don't know. We have absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. So that's where we're at with this. It is now a 3-vote lead for Spencer Deery. 2 votes left to count. The total as of yesterday, 6,337 for Deery, 6,334 for Copenhaver. Now, Copenhaver has until May the 19th. So doing a little math, today is the 14th, tomorrow's the 15th, 16th, 17th, that's Tuesday. She has until Tuesday to file for a verified recount or contest petition. Party chairman, county chairman, have until May 22nd. Now, we're scheduled to have Samantha Dewister on with us Monday. She is one of Spencer Deery's attorneys. So Monday, we will have a full final vote count of the original vote. Now, all these recounts and stuff will still be left to happen. But Samantha's going to be with us, and this is something only our show can do. We're going to do a deep dive on Elections 101. We're going to explain to you how a recount would work. We're going to explain to you how the provisional ballot counts have worked. We're going to walk through all of the stuff that remains, what the challenges could be, how they might be challenged. We know this. We know Spencer Deery, whether it's 1 vote, it could be as little as 1 or it could be as much as 5, will lead the final original vote tally, pending a recount. So you guys, Monday, we're scheduled to have Samantha with us. And by the way, Samantha was the attorney for Alexandra Wilson, and she won that case for Alexandra Wilson. So pretty good person to have in your corner if you're Spencer Deery, to have Samantha Dewister in your corner. She's working for Spencer Deery on this election case. Now this gets more interesting because a recount would head over to the Indiana Election Division, the request for the recount, which means Diego's going to be involved. And so yesterday, preemptively, Ed Delaney, Democrat representative from Indianapolis, came out and urged Diego to remove himself from any recount involving Deery. And at first I thought this and I was like, okay, well, Diego's an incompetent idiot, so it'd probably be good to have him remove himself from anything involving his office. But then I thought, well, that kind of seems political because the way it works is the board is Diego, a Democrat, and a Republican. Diego, but then the more I thought about it, I thought, you know what? There's some merit to this. Diego openly is now aligned with Turning Point USA. remember Turning Point USA and the Secretary of State's office and the governor's office entered into some non-specific, vague, undefined partnership. By the way, speaking of vague, I've done a horrible job of staying on the Adam Krupp story. I'm not letting it go, Krupp. I'll get back to you. Is he still? He's still in there as that special advisor to the governor that we don't know what he does. See, this is what happens with the government. They're always like, just don't say anything. It'll go away. The media loses steam. They go on to the next bright, shiny object. And it works a lot of times. But I caught myself, Krupp. I'm not done with you yet. I have to get the latest on what's going on with Adam Krupp over at DCS. But anyway, Diego is openly partnering at a press conference, all this other stuff, with Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA endorsed and supported and was the campaign arm, the campaign driver for Paul Copenhaver. Quote, Delaney said, Morales, quote, has deeply involved himself with a branch of Turning Point USA, which endorsed Deery's primary opponent. Diego, that is a fair point. And not just because Diego is a piece of human sludge. Diego has openly, through his government position, endorsed an organization that is the primary driver of a campaign that he would oversee the results of. Diego also offered public support for redistricting. And Paula Copenhaver ran on redistricting and ran on the endorsement of Donald Trump, which they made no bones about was about redistricting. Does anyone think if push came to shove, if there's any jump balls, that Diego would be fair? I don't. I think you'd have a major issue here if there's any jump balls where the Republican and Democrat on the board see it differently. Now, Diego's staff got asked about this. And as predicted, anytime Diego gets asked to do something ethical, he immediately tells everyone to smooch his butt cheeks. According to the Capitol Chronicle, who wrote a big article on this, Secretary of State spokeswoman Lindsay Eaton said the secretary, quote, has no intention of stepping away from the constitutional and statutory duties that define his office. Now, look, guys, this does bring it back to something that Greg Ballard has made a part of his campaign. And the importance of it is starting to play out. Ballard said very directly, has said already, as Secretary of State, I will not endorse anyone running for public office that I would oversee, that my office would oversee the potential election of, the campaign of, the election for. And now you see something like where Diego could be a deciding vote on something, and you go, well, that's probably pretty smart. Because Diego's certainly out there being all about endorsements, support. And this is where it comes back to the job of the Secretary of State is not to be political. It's not to campaign. It's not to be Republican or Democrat, quite frankly. I mean, you get elected as one, but it's to administer the will of General Assembly. It should be a boring, inconspicuous job. I was talking with somebody yesterday about this, and they said, think about the Secretary of States and the candidates that you had before 2022. The Republican was almost always some person with great institutional knowledge of Indiana government, like a Connie Lawson before Diego, or a Todd Rokita before Connie. Now, in between was Charlie White, who had a wee bit of a problem with the law. But even Charlie White was a local elected official. He had served in local government. He was on the Fishers Town Council at the time. And then you think about and then on the Democrat side, you always had, it was like a state rep or a state senator who would run. And that was the competition, because it should be a boring administrative position of people who know the laws of our state and enact the will of the General Assembly. That's it. There's no campaigning to it. There's no propaganda, or there shouldn't be, to it. Look at 22. It was Diego with no elective experience whatsoever, who had a checkered at best record inside of state government, including paperwork showing he was fired by Todd Rokita. Why will no one ask Rokita why he endorsed a guy that paperwork shows he wants fired? Next time somebody Rokita does a presser, why won't the media just say, hey, why'd you fire Diego? And why are you endorsing him now? Diego was also, paperwork shows, about to be fired by Charlie White's office, before he quit. So you have Diego, who has no government experience outside of a checkered history in state government. By the way, he worked for Mike Pence. I still have no idea what he did for Pence. None. Neither does Pence. That's perfect. I check on the businesses. I check. And then his opponent was Destiny Wells. I don't think we need to spend a single second further telling you what a dumpster fire Destiny Wells was, also with seemingly no government experience. This year, it's going to be Diego, who is a complete dumpster fire, who has used his office as a 24/7 campaign machine, if indeed Diego is the nominee. And Bo Bai, who also has zero governmental experience. I mean, he was a member of the military, and God bless him for his service. He was a clerk for the Federal Court of Appeals. But he has no actual elective, or, it wasn't like he served on government, boards, commissions, in terms of planning commissions, whatever, right? Wasn't a city councilor, nothing. And so you see this office starting to change right in front of us. That the politicians use this office as a stepping stone. It's all political now. And how can we elevate? Now, in fairness, Rokita did that. In fairness, Evan Bai was elected to Secretary of State and then used that as an elevation to governor in just a couple of years. But we had a long track record then, in between all of that, of people kind of just that were qualified people. What did Connie Lawson do? She retired. Quit in the middle of her term. All right, hey guys, if you're buying or thinking about refinancing, work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps home buyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple. Clear advice and personalized guidance so you can make informed decisions and be confident about them. Visit loansbygary.homes, loansbygary.homes, or call 317-695-5179. 317-697-5179. I'm sorry, 317-695-5179. 317-695-5179. You guys try talking for 3 hours. See if you don't make any mistakes. Guys, you got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. Loansbygary.homes. 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, in MLS, number 179207 with Verity Mortgage. In MLS, number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender. Okay, we have a lot to get to, including, I'll go ahead and get to this now because I want to ask you guys I want to prompt you guys for something in the YouTube chat, and then we'll take our break. By the way, in order to be a chatter on our YouTube, we have one of the best YouTube chats in the world. I love our chat. I love the people in it. You guys are amazing. You do have to be a subscriber to participate. And then at the end of every show, producer Jason will read the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. I want to know what your worst, do you guys have any bad wedding experience stories? Like, could have been yours, could have been one you went to. Let me know. Was not as bad as this one, I guarantee you. This is from USA Today. A Michigan groom who police said intentionally ran over one of his groomsmen after his wedding has been sentenced to at least 3 decades in prison after pleading no contest to charges including murder. So now no contest, legal experts out here can correct me if I'm wrong, no contest means you're not saying you're guilty, you're just accepting the charges in front of you. Is that right? Like, you're not saying I'm guilty of it. You're not contesting the charges in front of you. Yeah. You're not contesting it, but you're not saying I did it. And usually when you plead no contest, you get a reduced sentence in order for that. James Shira, 24 of Flint, was handed down the sentence in Genesee County Circuit Court on May 11th. Flint police said Shira drove an SUV on August 30th of 2024 in a residential area and intentionally ran over and killed 29-year-old Terry Lewis Taylor Jr. Prosecutors charged Shira with second-degree murder, driving with a suspended license, and failure to stop at the scene of a crash resulting in death. He pleaded no contest to all three charges. The judge sentenced him to a minimum of 30 years and up to 45 years in prison. The woman he married, Savannah Collier, according to USA Today, was also arrested after Taylor's death on suspicion of being an accessory to the fact, after the fact, to a felony. She pled guilty as well. An investigation by detectives revealed that earlier that day, Taylor had gone to the wedding. He was a groomsman. And then after the wedding, he had an argument, and then that led to him being intentionally hit with an SUV. So, whatever bad wedding stories you guys may have, probably not as bad as that one. Do you have a bad wedding story that you'd be comfortable revealing, or a crazy wedding story that you can reveal? We don't want to have to kick you out of the YouTube chat. But let us know. Comment there in the YouTube. Producer Jason, he'll be running through the best YouTube comments of the day. I thought that might spark some conversation. Hey, guys, do me a favor when you get home today. Go to your bathroom, look up at the ceiling above the shower. Seriously, I know that sounds like a weird ask, but do it. Look up, see is there any staining, peeling paint, or do you have a fan when you turn it on that sounds like a lawnmower and barely moves any air? If you do, you could have a major problem on your hands. And that's why you need our guys from Vent Savvy. Does your mirror stay fogged up in after a shower for a long period of time? If it does, the fan's not doing its job. This is a fan. It could very likely be a fan issue. And if it's not working, the moisture's going somewhere. If it's not going out of your house, it's going somewhere, usually into your ceiling or your attic. That's exactly what Vent Savvy fixes. Do that little test, then go to ventsavvy.com, VENTSAVVY.com, and find out if your fan is actually doing its job. John, the owner, huge fan of our show, Hoosier Lifer. I know many of you have used Vent Savvy. You've had John out to your house. He loves meeting all you guys. And it's one of these just little test things you can do. It takes 5 minutes. You could potentially save yourself a whole bunch of money. Head over to Vent Savvy, VENTSAVVY, and do the test for yourself. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Nate Silver has some interesting polling on the president. And I want to walk through what he has determined, sort of looking at all the polls that are coming in right now on Donald Trump. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, a realtor with App Properties. Born and raised right here in Central Indiana and a Hoosier through and through. Selling your home is a massive undertaking, and I completely understand what that is. That's why when you work with me, we put a great plan together to make sure that when your home comes to the market, it is in the best light possible. Again, I'm Lauren Wilson, 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Let's put a plan together and get your home sold.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for being a part of the show with us. If you haven't done so yet, do your duty as an American. Hit that like button. Like our show. That really helps us grow with the YouTube algorithm. Look, I got to say, I'm pretty proud of myself. Today is the first day of the PGA Championship. I haven't even checked the scores once. It used to be our running joke was, you only got about 25% effort when a major championship on Thursdays and Fridays. But now it's 100% effort. All go all the way, baby. And we're here with you guys until noon today, giving you the best in Indiana news, politics, and government. You know, we also sprinkle some national stuff in there as well because we think that's important. And we're able to do that now thanks to our third hour brought to you by our great friend, John Rust, who so generously, he loves our show. He's like, whatever you need, I'll make it happen for you. So whether it's our billboards that I know so many of you have seen, whether it's our third hour, we just can't thank John enough for being such a huge supporter of our show. So Nate Silver has some interesting data on Trump and how people are feeling about Trump. All right. You pull it down further?
It's supposed to be smoother than that, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I've tried to do a show and talk to you. I only have one brain and one of everything except for hands. Got two of those. And two legs. Well, and two ears. I guess you have two of everything.
Just continue.
You only have one of fewer things than you do two. Yeah. Anyway, Nate Silver, he's a statistician. And you guys may remember, so Nate Silver's story is actually very, very interesting. I don't know if you guys know this. Indulge me here for a second. Nate Silver was, he's sort of like the go-to pollster guy. Now, 538, that was his website, where he sort of predicts how elections are going to go. He takes a look at individual states. He sort of analyzes polling from individual states. And 538 for a long time has sort of been, it's not the gold standard. He gets stuff wrong, but it's a very, very high-trafficked, has been a very high-trafficked website about politics and predictors. And so what Silver kind of does is he takes sort of aggregates of polling. He looks at all polling across states or across the country and puts them together, and then it's okay, based on what I'm seeing, here's where we're at, here's what I think is going to happen. Silver's fascinating because he got his start as a sports guy. He was a sports guy who happened to just be into privately in his private existence into politics. And he, in the early 2000s, he started working for a website called Baseball Prospectus. A lot of you guys, like if you're a fantasy baseball player or you have been in fantasy baseball, you'll know Baseball Prospectus because he was really big, really high-ranking guy in Baseball Prospectus trying to predict things that would happen, and that was used by both the fantasy baseball players. Now, full disclosure, I think I've played fantasy baseball one time. It was years and years and years ago, and it was just too much effort to have to update your lineup every day. I was like, it's too much effort. I can't do it. But fantasy baseball players use Baseball Prospectus, and it evolved into Major League Baseball teams use Baseball Prospectus in terms of signing free agents, trying to predict how a guy might play, what's he worth financially, et cetera. And so he was super into politics as well. And so he starts this website in 2008 called 538. And he did it anonymously at first because he was still working for Baseball Prospectus. He's like, hey, he is liberal. And he was like, hey, I don't want people knowing my politics. I don't want them using that against me. So he just anonymously started this website called 538. And it made predictions. It was totally new at the time. He started making predictions on the primaries and later the general election. And he got a ton of publicity. 538 got a ton of publicity because this was Obama, right? So this was Obama and Hillary, and then obviously Obama and McCain. And he got a ton of publicity in 2008 because he got 49 out of 50 states correct. He correctly predicted 49 out of 50 states, and he got every U.S. Senate race right in 2008. And so people started paying attention. People started like, this 538, who is this guy? So he's like, well, shoot, I can make a bunch more money in politics than I can working for Baseball Prospectus. Hi, it's me. I'm Nate Silver. I do 538. And he got in with the Obama campaign. Obama campaign shared a bunch of internal data that they had with him on the condition of anonymity. And then Nate Silver, after 2008, sort of became the de facto go-to for polling, for data, for the aggregates of all of this. And he's been very popular in the political world ever since. So that's who Nate Silver is. And he has a what's it called? I think it's called the Silver Report now. Is that right? That's the name of it. Make sure I get it right. Yeah, Silver Bulletin. So Nate Silver has a report now. It's called the Silver Bulletin. And he does sort of the same things he did on 538. It's just called the Silver Bulletin. And so what he did is he factored numerous polls in to try to get a picture on Trump. Like, where is Trump actually at? You know, like a CNN poll and a Atlas poll and a Rasmussen poll. And let's take all of them. And then he has a formula by which he weights the polls on their accuracy. He put certain factors into the polling. And one of the things that's interesting about Silver with the Silver Bulletin is he also allows polls that are just all adults. So a lot of polls, you'll see at the end, it was 700 likely voters or 700 registered voters. And traditionally, likely voters have served as a more accurate gauge of where the election's at rather than registered voters. Likely voters obviously mean they're likely to vote. But in the case of Silver, he's not trying to predict an election here. So he said, hey, I just want to know how Americans are feeling about Trump. So in the purpose of this Silver Bulletin, he also included polls that were just Americans. Not voters, not based on how likely they were to vote, but just Americans. And he created on each of these polls what he calls an influence score. And he uses things like pollster rating, how accurate has the pollster been in the past, how good a job do they do, how close to have they gotten, sample size, recency, how often the pollster publishes their polls. All of these things go into Silver getting what he calls a recency or an influencer score. And then he uses those influencer scores to weight the polls, and then he comes up with an overall number of where he thinks Trump is. So it's the total polls, it's the influencer score of the pollster, and he puts all of that together, numerous polls across the country, and he comes up with, hey, here's where I actually think Trump is, according to all of these. So like, and just for an example, to show how he's not weighting the polls based on the results, but rather a variety, he puts the most weight on an Atlas Intel poll from March 4th through the 7th that has Trump at negative 20 points underwater. However, one of the ones he puts the least weight on is an SSRS poll from April 30th through May 4th that had Trump at minus 30. So it's not something where he's just looking for, hey, these are the worst polls about Trump, let's kick him to the top of the queue. No, the one that's the worst for Trump, he actually has one of the lowest valued polls that he has. So of all of these polls over the past month or so that Silver looked at for his Silver Bulletin, the best Trump did in any survey was minus 14. Minus 14 is the best Trump did in any poll. That was a Rasmussen poll, May 6th through the 12th, so it just wrapped up. And if you guys know, Rasmussen has been very friendly to Trump over the years, far more friendly, and in the case of the most recent election, more accurate than any of the other pollsters. So the best Trump did in any poll was Rasmussen, a Trump-friendly pollster, at minus 14, May the 12th. Silver put all of these polls together with his weights, with the influencer scores, etc., and he came up with a score of negative 18.9%. In all of these polls together, Trump is 18.9% underwater. That is higher than the previous all-time low for Trump, which I guess I should say it's lower than the previous all-time low for Trump, which was minus 18.8%. So statistically, this is the worst that Trump has ever done. The worst it's ever done. Now, you can take what you want with it. You can take it with a grain of salt. He doesn't go into why. He doesn't do any of that. He's just like, here's the data. Here we put it all together. Trump is in, based on our putting all the data together, the worst position he's ever been in. Hey, guys, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salts, environmental buildup like mold and dirt, they can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. The Seal Now are the clean seal and stain professionals. They do it all. Driveways, patios, concrete, for your sidewalk, you name it. But they also do more than just concrete. They do outdoor, they do decks, they do fences, they do pergolas, pretty much any outdoor wood or concrete structure. Seal Now can bring it back to life. Here's what you got to do. Just go to their website. It's pretty easy. Sealnow.com. 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 You can see previous projects to give you an idea of how your project might look. Then on top of that, and this is where it gets great, if you tell Seal Now, hey, I heard about you on the Rob Kendall Show, they're going to take 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off any long-term sealing project, just simply saying, you heard about Seal Now, the Rob Kendall Show. So when we look at this silver report, this silver bulletin, to come back to that, if you're Trump, you're almost 20 points underwater. The best you can do in the most friendly poll available to you from the most friendly pollster is 14 points underwater. You got to start making some changes. And guys, the changes come around every policy and everything you do and everything you fight for has to be about cost of living. Trump is not, and I've seen a bunch of people start to catch on to these comments he made about the other day about the economy. And basically saying the economy to me and affordability and inflation take a backseat to Iran. Look, you can make the case that it's the morally correct thing to do. If you really believe Iran was close to getting a nuclear weapon, it is brutally unpopular with the public. Putting this Iran war ahead of people being able to afford living is brutally unpopular with the American public. And until Trump is able to pivot off of that, and the problem is there's nothing for him to pivot to. In politics, you need to be able to distract from bad news. And for Trump, everywhere he turns is bad news. Everywhere Trump goes, everything he could go to. It's why Obama got reelected, right? It's why Obama kept losing. Obama's fascinating because Obama, there were like 1,000 seats Obama lost, Democrats lost under Obama. I'm talking U.S. House, U.S. Senate, State House, State Senate governor's offices. They kept track of it. And he lost like 1,000 seats. Democrats, throughout the 8 years Obama was president, it was a bloodbath. And yet Obama still got reelected. Why? One was Obama's sheer cult of personality and the amount of black voters that he was able to turn out. But two, Obama himself. Now, the other down ballot people couldn't do it, but Obama could. Hey, you hate Obamacare. I get it, but look at that stock market. Now, I think over time we've become wise to the stock market is not a reflection of our society. But for years, the stock market was sort of the gauge by which we judge the economy. And Obama was able to quickly pivot. Every time something bad would happen to him, look at that stock market. Look at that stock market. Trump doesn't have anything really to pivot to because the stock market, people are wise now to, hey, unless you're cashing out your 401k tomorrow, stock market doesn't really affect you today in this moment. Most companies don't hire based off of the rise or fall of a stock over a month. And so when you think about gas prices, food prices, housing prices, all of it's higher and all of it's outpacing what the average person is earning in terms of pay increases. That's big trouble for Trump. And it's not going to work out well in the midterms if Trump doesn't find a way to get the attention off bad news and get people feeling better about the condition of their daily life. It's just not going to happen. Some good news. And now, because I don't work on the radio anymore, I can say this is good news. Used to be I wasn't allowed to talk about this. You're going to be able to watch the Indy 500 this year, guys. Did you guys see this? The Indy 500 has sold out. They announced yesterday it is sold out, and as such, the blackout will be lifted. Now, look, I got to be honest. There is some allure to listening to the Indy 500 on the radio because we always had to do it. There is a certain charm to hearing the race the way you heard it as a kid. And I will say, and Mark Janes is a good friend of mine, the voice of the Indy 500. We'll try to get him on maybe here in the next week or two. There is something special about the race on the radio. It's very well done. Jake Query, those guys do a fine job, the IMS radio network. They do. And I'll probably listen to the race on the radio throughout various points of the day, including especially the pregame show. But now that I can say this, it is pretty freaking awesome to watch those cars go around the track live. I mean, there will be part of me that throughout points of the day, I will stop. Now, am I going to sit there for 2.5 hours and watch the Indy 500? No. I'm not that big of a race fan. But I have enjoyed, let's see, what is this? There's 4 times it's been available on TV before with blackout restriction lifted. 2016 because it sold out, which was the 100th running. 20 and 21 crowd size restrictions because of COVID. 24 they put it on because there was a huge rain delay. You guys remember that? There was a massive rain delay. And then they just said, screw it, let's put it on TV. Because it ran into, I think there was such a long rain delay, it ran into the replay. And then last year, 25, there was another sellout. So there's 5 times, the Indianapolis 500 has been available to be viewed by the masses, and this will be year number 6, 2026. Approximately 350,000 fans expected to attend the race with the sellout. Now, there are still, according to Fox 59, all badges and passes providing pit and garage access are sold out. The general admission tickets are still available in the infield. So if you really want to go, you can still get tickets in the infield. Now, speaking of which, we're doing a show on Memorial Day, right? Huh. Are we not coming in? No. Oh. Why? You said the only day you weren't coming in was Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Well, now we're adding to the... Well, now we're adding. Now we don't... Easter's a Sunday. We don't have a show Sunday.
We did Good Friday.
We did Good Friday, yeah. So we're not doing a show Memorial Day. Well... No, we're getting paid. We're not doing this show. Maybe we'll have a fun show, a fun best of show or something we can run for people who, I mean, you're off, whatever. Yeah. I'm just saying, I'll be here. I'll be here. Whatever. Anyway, we'll let you know next week. We still got 2 weeks now. We got a ways to figure it out. But anyway, so what do you guys? Let me know in the YouTube chat. Where are you at? Do you like watching the race on television? Are you a radio person? How do you enjoy the race? I see value in both. And look, you got to give huge credit to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, especially in a post-Penske era of Penske owning the track. They have done a phenomenal job of marketing that race, of getting younger people to come back to the track, and making it a spectacle to be there in person. Doug Bowles, the Penske group, they have done a great job of making the single largest single-day sporting event in the world a must-see attraction again, and kudos to them. And that's great for the city. It's great for our state. It's great for the race itself, and that's awesome. So good on them, and it's sold out. So you watch it on TV. You can go. You can listen on the radio, whatever you want to do. Hey, guys, buying a home is the biggest investment you're ever going to make. Lauren Wilson, our fabulous friend from Realtor with That Property, she gets it. When you work with Lauren Wilson, you're going to set up a strategy. You're going to come up with a plan so that you're not just doing this thing willy-nilly. Oh, I like this house. Let's go look. Or, oh, I like that house. Let's go look. You're going to come up with a strategy that gives you the best chance to put you in the best home that's right for you, that you're going to be happy with for years to come. Lauren Wilson with At Properties. And by the way, we talked about this earlier. When you hire a realtor, don't just pick the first person. Don't just pick Lauren because we say. We tell you get to know Lauren, and you should. But shop around. Find that person who's going to be best for you. We think you're really going to like what Lauren Wilson has and how into the whole thing she is and how into you she is and the sort of service she gives you. Lauren Wilson, Hoosier lifer, military vet, realtor with At Properties. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. Get that advocate in your corner that gets you, that understands you, that will go to work for you. Lauren Wilson with At Properties. 317-590-2290. All right. What time is it?
Quarter after.
Okay. It's time for a break? All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, producer Jason's going to have the best YouTube chats of the day. Also, a new law will dramatically affect what kids can do in school. I want to get your guys' opinion on that. We've got so much show left to get to. A lot going on. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Your bathroom fan could be secretly costing you thousands of dollars in damages. Most people don't even know this until the damage is done. With over 18 years of bathroom remodeling experience, here are 3 signs your fan is failing you without spending a dime on inspections. Sign number 1 is if you have foggy mirrors after you shower. This shows that your fan isn't pulling out enough moisture, which creates the perfect environment for mold. If you have a properly functioning bathroom fan that is the right size for your space, you shouldn't see much fogginess on your bathroom mirror at all. Sign number 2 is if you have bubbling, cracking, or peeling paint in your bathroom. This means moisture is soaking into your walls, slowly breaking down drywall, and even causing the wood framing behind it to rot. Sign number 3 is if you have mold buildup on your fan, ceilings, or walls. This is terrible for your health, but also could wreck your bathroom, costing you a fortune. If you're noticing any of these signs, here's what you can do.
Call Vent Savvy today at 317-300-4434. That's 317-300-4434 and mention Rob for a free attic inspection.
Hey guys, welcome back. Rob Kendall Show. Look, we got a problem here. We're supposed to be doing the YouTube chat here in just a little bit, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. We are under 200 likes on this show today. Jason says he's not coming back until we get to 200 likes. I know you guys want your comments read. I know it's one of your favorite parts of the day. Put a little peer pressure on the people in the room. There's 200 people in the room right now, plus. Put a little peer pressure on. All we're asking you to do, we're not asking for your personal information. Just hit that little thumbs up. We got to get to 200 before we do the YouTube comments. Before that, though, As we give you time to get us 200 likes, we can do the YouTube chat, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Capital Chronicle has an interesting article about this. Effective, and I'm curious how do you guys feel about this, effective July 1, no more cell phones for your kids in public schools. No more cell phones out and about in the classroom. So Governor Mike Braun signed the bill yesterday. They had a big signing ceremony for it. It's what they call the bell-to-bell cell phone restriction law. And it says that their goal, Braun said their goal of this, is to reduce classroom distractions. Keep students focused on learning throughout the school day. Now, this bill passed with bipartisan support. Democrats and Republicans were on board with it. And I got to say, I think I'm good with this. We didn't have cell phones when I was in school. They probably didn't have cell phones when you were in school. You're there to learn. Get to work, right? You don't need a cell phone out with you in the classroom for any reason. The new law, which takes effect on July 1st, as we said, will prohibit student use of personal wireless communication devices throughout the school day. The policy applies to cell phones, smartwatches, gaming devices, other similar electronics. It will allow exceptions for emergencies, medical needs, and students with accommodations. Now, this is the most government thing ever part of the bill, all right? Are you ready for this? They signed the bill and held a ceremony without knowing exactly how it's going to work. So they had this big signing ceremony. Here's the things we're prohibiting. Okay, how does this work? I'm going to read you exactly what the Capital Chronicle wrote. Quote, the law directs the Indiana Department of Education to develop model policy language and implement directions for schools. That guidance has yet to be published, however. So they passed a bill. They have months between the bill passing and it being signed into law, signing ceremony. They have the signing ceremony, and the guidance on how to enact the policy still hasn't been published. That, my friends, is your government at work. Now, as to the policy itself, I on the surface agree with it. Jeff Ratz was one of the senators who was a sponsor of the bill, said, we send our kids to school and we pay. Not I pay, but we pay. Take tax dollars from everybody to make sure they get educated so they can be successful. And I think that not using a cell phone in the classroom, for me, sets up that student up for success. I agree. It's pretty hard to come up with a reason other than for, emergencies that you would need a cell phone out in the classroom. You're there to learn. We all know that a lot of kids screw off. We all know a lot of kids mess around. I mean, we got our big thing. This would have been in the early 2000s. We put Nintendo games on our calculators in math class. We figured out a way. We had a buddy who figured out how to do this, and this was a big deal at the time. Seems laughable now, but it was a huge deal at the time. We figured out how to put old school Nintendo games on our calculators, and we could play them on the calculator. It was pretty advanced. We also got old school Nintendo games onto, now this is when they still had the floppy disks. That's how old I am. We got the old school Nintendo programs on a floppy disk, and you could put them in and play them on the computer. Like when your library is supposed to be learning, if you get in a corner, and that wasn't like the teachers were walking around looking at what you were doing. And like I had, have I told this story about my student newspaper that they got mad at me and the deal we made? Have I told this? So when I was in high school, this would have been before I met you, I was in the student newspaper, and I was the opinion columnist for the student newspaper. And so I wrote all these super controversial columns. I roasted the school administration. I roasted the football team, like all sorts of super controversial opinion pieces. And they were great for the newspaper. Like, the newspaper has never been more popular. Nobody used to read this thing, and now everybody reads it each month. And I had a journalism teacher, the newspaper teacher. I think he quit to become a vet. I think I made him so miserable he quit teaching, and last I checked, he became a veterinarian. That's what I do to people. The only person who's never quit on me is Jason. So he was really supportive of what I was doing. He's like, this is great journalism. You're a good writer. This is great. This is great. Well, the staff, including the administration, finally was like, enough of Kendall. Does this sound familiar? Enough of Kendall. You got to put a stop to him. He's like, well, why would I stop him? He's a good writer. Like, the stuff he writes is good. It's well done. Yeah, but it's making us all look bad. We're not going to fund the student newspaper. It's making us look bad. He's like, what am I supposed to do? Tell the guy he's got to write about the float and the homecoming parade? No, he's fine. So they finally wore him down. So here's what he does. He comes in and he goes, look, I'm going to send you to journalism camp this summer. It's a journalism camp. What the hell's that? He said, I'm going to send you to journalism camp. It's IU. IU has a journalism camp for high school students every year where they teach you how to write. I was like, I already know how to write. It's like, yeah, just trust me. I need you to go to the journalism camp. And he goes, whatever they tell you, that's what you're going to do when you come back for your senior year. And I think in his mind, this got the administration off his ass. Like, he was like, okay, I'm telling them I'm sending him to this journalism camp. They paid for me to go, by the way. I can't believe this. They paid for me to go to journalism camp. And you stayed like 2 or 3 days at IU. Like, you're on the IU campus. You stayed in a dorm. It was miserable. I hated it. I've never had a roommate. I've also never lived in an actual apartment. I mean, I've had a roommate like a member of the opposite sex that I was engaged in interpersonal relations with, but not like somebody you live with. I've never had that. I've always lived on my own. And I was miserable in that dorm. Like, I hate to be around people. I hate the whole thing, right? But I went, and they, make you write stuff. They make you bring your writings to look at. And the lady who's in charge of the journalism camp looks at it and goes, your writing's phenomenal. It's like, don't change anything. I was like, really? She's like, no, it's fabulous. It's like, well, my teacher thinks like maybe I'm too mean. She's like, nah, I've read this stuff. It's well-versed. It's well-cited. It sounds like the stuff you're digging into needs to be done. Like, they give you some tips on how to maybe write a little bit better, right? Like how to structure or whatever. But she's like, it's great. It's good. By the way, I had no idea how to write an actual newspaper article. All I wrote were opinion pieces. And Jason is the one who actually taught me how to write a newspaper article.
They didn't teach you the inverted pyramid style.
That's right. I'll never forget this.
Did they?
Are you on the screen now? Can people see you?
Yeah, they can.
Okay,
yes,
very good. Hello.
Tired of waiting. We hit 200 about 5 minutes ago.
Good.
So,
well, anyway, yeah, I remember this. We were sitting on the couch in the lobby at KLU.
WKLU 101.9.
The old converted pet store.
Brownsburg, Indiana.
And you probably don't remember this, but I was showing you my newspaper writings, and then I was like, yeah, they also made me write a thing on the basketball game or something, one of the basketball games. And I was like, you looked at it and you just had this look on your face. And I was like, is it bad? And you're like, well, you just started with the thing that happened first, which was the tip-off, and worked your way through the entire game. I was like, are you not supposed to do that? He's like, think about the Star. Do they do that when you read about the Pacers? I was like, no, come to think of it, they don't. You're like, yeah, it's the inverted pyramid. I was like, what the hell's that? And you're like, think of it like a triangle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is the first paragraph, if they only read the first paragraph in a sports story, it should have the score, the highlight, and who played the score and the team's record.
Right.
And then the second paragraph is whoever the highest scoring player was or whatever. The third paragraph, actually even into the second paragraph, usually associated with the highest scoring player, you give the shot that put the team ahead for the final time. That could have been in the first quarter, could have been in the last quarter. Rob Kendall's 15-footer from the corner put Brownsburg ahead for good at 17-16. From that point on, blah, blah, blah. So basically, if you only read that first few paragraphs, you get the gist of the story.
Now, this is how worthless the public education system is. I, as an 18-year-old radio intern, got more from 5 minutes with him than I got in my entire journalism class.
And look at just the 25 years of knowledge.
Anyway, so I go to this journalism
still
camp.
Telling the story. Okay.
They tell me, hey, everything's great. I go back. He said, what'd they teach you? He said, everything's great. Keep doing it the way you're doing. He's like, there's no way they said that. Here's the book, man. Here's the thing they give you, right? And he's like, well, we're not doing that this year. We're changing that. I was like, but you just said go to the camp and do what they said. No, I'm not dealing with this again. I'm not dealing a whole nother year of dealing with you. So we got in this huge fight. The day we finally had it out, I do a couple stories. Then they finally just start shutting it down. The day we did the picture for the yearbook, we got in this huge fight. In the yearbook photo for the student newspaper, you can see everybody's in the photo, and then I am like 4 feet away from everyone, sitting off by myself.
With a scowl on your face.
And every time, 25 years later, I go back, or I hadn't been 25 years, but almost 24 years later, I go back and look at that, and I just smile because I was like, I was the same guy at 18 years old as I am today. Like it was. But anyway, the deal they made with me, they were he was so sick of me. He sent me to the principal's office. Go to the assistant principal. The assistant principal's like, we got to come up with some sort of arrangement like this. You and the teacher cannot be fighting about this. I'm like, but I did what he said. He's basically like, dude, everyone's like, the administration is sick of you. We're making his life miserable. We got to come to a deal. Here's the deal we made. Can you imagine if they did this today? They made a deal. They would give me a B in the class. And they would let me never come to class, and I could go home. I could walk around the halls. I could do whatever I wanted for the remainder of the year. If I just didn't tell anyone, and they just let me go to, and I lived right next to the school.
And you didn't write anything else?
No, I just stopped writing. No, it's just
see what they should have done, but they're teachers, so it figures. They should have given you a camera and said, now you're going to earn the grade. You're not going to write anymore, but you need to learn how to use a camera. Would that not have been a valuable skill for you throughout your lifetime?
They didn't want me bitching, and they knew I would have raised a giant stink about
I never had a journalism instructor that was ever actually experienced in working in the newspaper business or any other business. They were all there as like, you're going to be a journalism instructor. Okay, here's a camera. Learn how to use it because you got to teach these kids how to use it.
But anyway, so but all that to come back to the thing with the video games. I had the floppy disk, which we had all the Nintendo games on. So I would go like into. Now what happened was the woman who was the yearbook person loved me, and so I would just go to her classroom. She didn't have a class while I was out roaming the halls. So I had a computer, and I could play the video games on.
So instead of trying to learn how to be a better writer, you were playing video games.
Well, I was pissed off, just like I get now. When I get mad, I just protest stuff. I get angry.
Are we ready for the chat?
Yeah, sorry. Now I'm ready to go.
That's fine. That's
I don't even know what time it is.
Hey, it's your show, man. It all belongs to you. This chat brought to you, but I did tell people on Facebook I'd be on at 11:30, so perfect timing, Rob. This chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to the plumber break the bank. Call John, Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. He's a great guy. 765-315-7558. 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right,
let's get to it.
What do we got?
All right, making sure I am on. People can hear me. Okay, good deal. The old man 68 reclaimed his
first in
title to the top today. Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Let's keep this train rolling. Rob and producer Jason. By the way, for those of you that may be new, we have a chat in the YouTube that you can go check out, and we come up with the best comments. Not necessarily the best comments. I just like to get a little potpourri of what's out there. MLM
Warriors.
Warriors.
Be a subscriber, though, to comment.
You got to be a subscriber. MLM Warriors. First like. There we go. He couldn't get in on the first comment, but he did get the first like.
It's equally important.
Wanted to let us know. LT Wilson. Good morning. I will never be first.
If you believe it, LT, you can achieve it.
That is true. All right. Deep thoughts. Good morning, the old man 68 at MLM Warriors, at producer Jason, at Rob Kendall Show, and to everyone else that shows up in comments. I am number 4. Press the thumbs up to help Rob.
There you go.
All right, right on. Tony Jones _voiceover.
Oh, I know Tony.
Oh, do you?
Tony
Okay.
has given generously. Tony has hit the support button over at RobKendallShow.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Tony. Good morning. I'm making deliveries today to 5 different schools in Brownsburg. At each one, I'm going to ask someone, hey, do you know Rob Kendall?
They'll love that. They're going to love that.
That'll be great. Nicholas Kurtz, good morning. Rob Kendall Nation. Also Nicholas Kurtz. At producer Jason, good morning. Legend.
Oh, yes, of course.
Kevin Branham.
Absolutely.
At Old Man, back to number 1. Yes, he was. Everybody give the Old Man 68 his accolades.
I love that people are keeping track.
Andrew Sweet. Sounds like a singer. Good morning, unfree America, land of the fee, home of the pay.
I think he posted that the other day.
He did, but it still works. Carol 1776. So happy to see the chat getting full so early. The word is definitely getting out. Good morning to all of you, Rob, and the legendary producer Jason.
Yeah, the people were going hard and heavy early on.
Imbalore. Good morning, everyone. As Paul Thorne said, it's a great day to whoop someone's ass. Figuratively speaking, of course. Do not literally go out and do that. Deep thoughts. I have shared a few groups on Reddit. I've shared a few groups on Reddit.
Thank you.
The Rob Kendall Show.
Thank you.
Courtney Hill. Courtney was all over it today. What's another phrase for off the rails? I feel WIBC coined that phrase, and now it is just has a bad taste.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll come up with something. Imbalore, is it just me or are the drivers in and around Indianapolis getting worse by the week? This morning I had two separate people run their red lights and nearly hit me.
Ooh, that's bad.
If you add 10 million people into the country within a couple years, not a lot of them are going to have that driver's training that we might have taken in high school.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. Just you probably drive differently. Jake, what's up, nerds? I'm sure he said that affectionately. Spray Jockey, good morning, Robbleheads. All right, now that we've got all the everybody in, there we go. Courtney Hill, back at it. Do you guys think Rob sits and watches the comments roll in during the minutes leading up to the show? Just like hot dog producer Jason, you legend. Look at them go. I don't write them, I just read them.
She hit a lot of stuff there.
Right. Kevin Branham, new chair came in.
It did. Swivels.
Yeah, it does swivel. Courtney Hill, is that a rose on your pocket, Rob?
No, it's a little.
Did we ever figure out what that decal is?
It's a jockey, isn't it?
You need to ask Mom Kendall
what
that is.
Like a polo jockey, I think.
It's not a polo shirt, but
I don't know.
But it is very, very attractive. All right. Deep thoughts. I like the new chair. Don B, Chair of the Week Club. Debbie Holcomb, good morning, Robbleheads. Nicholas Kirch, you talked about how much we paid for the chair, $200 for that chair.
Yeah.
Nicholas Kirch says, you overpaid.
Probably.
Josh Richardson, how about a chair with a swivel? Rob's got the swivel down. Kevin Branham, as long as it's comfortable, that's all that matters. Mad Duck, that chair doesn't look comfy at all. I hope it is.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's better than the one I had before.
Yeah, I'm in the crappy little chairs.
Although that chair would have been okay, I think if I hadn't had the bad experience with my back, but that was where I was sitting.
I'm in the chair now. We've got two of the little chairs, but I actually bragging about how great my lounge chair was. My lower back was pretty sore last night. That happens.
Can't sit in a lounge chair for that amount of time, Jason.
You can't. I just don't have it anymore. C. Mills, $200 for a chair. Damn, I feel bad now. I have a pair of $700 boots. Well, Lottie freaking da.
Are they like made of alligator?
They got to be. I don't know if they're cowboy or those maybe sheepskin or poodle skin or
That's
something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. You got to get something decent because you're going to use it every day. If it's something you use every day.
And for us, that's a major expense right there. Yeah, it's. I'm still waiting on another $430 microphone to just drop out of the sky.
Rust?
It's not fair. Listener Dave, Jason, can we swap the brick for a Rove Beck-style whiteboard?
A what?
A whiteboard. Like maybe you could turn around and start doing.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. The
he says just kidding.
Schmog Sandwich.
Yeah,
told me
Schrog Sandwich.
Or Schrog. I'm sorry, Schrog. Yeah. Schrog Sandwich.
Yes.
Told me she's going to make the Diego picture, but make it bigger so we can hang it up behind us if we want to.
Oh, okay. Excellent. We got to get we got to get a good copy from Ms. Sandwich, and so we can do something with.
She said she's going to bring it to the live show.
Okay.
So she's going to make it, and then we can hang it up behind us.
Okay. Excellent. That'll rock. All right. Cool. Listener Dave. We did Listener Dave. Oh, here we go. Kenneth E. Gold. Good morning, y'all, from Table Rock Lake in Branson, Missouri.
Oh.
Awesome. Andy Engel.
You ever been to Branson? You've been everywhere. You've been to Branson, Missouri?
I've been to Branson. Yep.
Remember why?
I don't remember. It was one of those deals where the kid was little, so we whenever the parents took a vacation, we latched on and they took us with them, and we went to Branson, or maybe it was at Silver Dollar City or something like that. So I don't know. The kid would probably remember.
I thought maybe you went like for your photos or your shipping.
No, not for that. No.
Your dad was a cool guy.
Of course he was. It's all in the genes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been 99 years old this year.
Isn't that wild?
Crazy. Till the doctors killed him. He was getting I guess I should explain.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Because I was like, I thought maybe we were going to keep going. I mean, I know this story, but I thought
he was getting what do you call it? A pacemaker. What do you call it? Not voluntary, but not mandatory, not voluntary. What they say, preemptive or something.
Yeah. Right.
He really didn't need it. And he was about 83 at the time, 84. And doctor went in, punctured his lung.
Yeah, that's right.
And only made about another 6 months.
Yeah.
Damn doctors.
Remember that.
All right. Andy Engel agreed. Property taxes are immoral. Oh, Andy Engel also said, Carmel, okay, quoting Rob, I think he thought it was funny. Carmel has so much money, they have fake people on the streets.
That's right, they do.
Quote of the day.
Yep, and bison.
And bison. What the hell's a bison doing in Carmel?
They just got a bison statue.
Home of the bison.
Remember, that was a huge deal. They spent all that money on the bison.
All right. Kevin Branham, hit that like button, folks. You can still do it. Still time left. Okay, Rob dropped the F-bomb today.
I did, but I warned everyone.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Because somebody, I forget, I didn't read the comment yesterday, but somebody was in the doctor's office saying, I'm subjecting everybody to the Rob Kendall Show, and then today you drop an F-bomb. See, that's why it's like, I don't know, man. People can't turn you on in their stores and their shops because he may drop an F-bomb.
I think somebody's turning
me on. Little things that you got to think about. I don't know.
Is anybody, okay.
Courtney Hill.
Wait. Has anybody found me in a store yet?
Somebody should turn Rob on in a store, but you may drop.
Well, if somebody told me they were on a store, I probably wouldn't have done that. But in fairness, I did the earmuffs. It was like old school.
I'm just trying to be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah,
today.
you are.
Yeah. Okay, Courtney Hill. OMGGGGGGGGGGGG. It happened. Kevin Branham. The big one. Spray jockey. The S and F word all in one day. Courtney Hill. Rob and the F-bomb. Never thought I'd see the day. Yeah. Today was the day, Courtney.
That should show everybody how mad I am about what they're doing with property taxes and assessments. Like, that should show everybody how ridiculous it is. They're screwing everyone.
Almond Joy Tempo. Clutched my pearls. The F word. Livy listening? Kevin Branham, Rob, I like this kind of segment. Just tell it like it is. It was a good segment. C. Mills, I pay for Jason's Snickers. I pay, he says. She says, he, they.
I pay.
Tony Katz bought me a box of Snickers, and I quit the next day. I didn't give the Snickers to Carl.
They were all expired.
Tony's never talked to me since. I think he's pissed that I took the Snickers.
And they were expired, weren't they?
No, they weren't expired when he bought them.
Oh, they were still good when he bought them.
Maybe. I'm
not blaming him.
See, that's the thing. That's my whole thing. Like, well, maybe he gave. No, he wouldn't have done that. No, he bought them off Amazon. It was a very nice gesture, very good guy.
I got
along great with Tony.
I've never heard from Carl since I left WIBC.
Yeah.
Not a word.
Well, Carl's very tunnel vision kind of guy. He's the kind of guy you'd want to hire if Carl is a very good worker. Made me look bad. That's why I was like, Carl, you got to slow down, dude. It's not the way we do it. That's why I'm not there anymore. The 06010 board posted a note on Gab to encourage folks with an interest in Indiana politics to get here for Rob's show.
Thank you.
That's where all the viewers are coming from.
What is Gab?
I don't know, but their 06010 board opened the door and told them to come here.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin Branham at Almond Joy. I asked, and they used, you mentioned that I eat a Snickers every day, and I get my Diet Coke from McDonald's. Kevin Branham at Almond Joy. She said there's something different about the Diet Cokes or the Coke at McDonald's.
Yep.
Kevin Branham says, I asked, and they use reverse osmosis. Plus their contract with Coke is that they're the only ones who get the original recipe syrup. Did not know that. I knew there was something different.
Well, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, there's something different. I think they put a chemical in there that makes you thirstier. I think I heard that too. No, that's a legitimate thing.
Really?
It makes you hungrier. When you get done with a Diet Coke or a Coke from McDonald's, you're still hungry or thirsty, which makes you want more.
Yeah.
Yeah. See the way.
Oh, no. Anytime you drink, 100% hungry. Like if you drink a whole Coke at McDonald's, you are hungry when you're done.
I'm saying. C. Mills, Rob, meet me at the Wawa after the town council meeting tonight, and I'll fill up your tank.
Are you going, C. Mills?
He knows you only have a 10-gallon tank, so he's done the math. Okay,
I filled up
pretty
this
cheap
morning.
on this one.
Yeah.
C. Mills is a great. He's done a lot of donations.
Yes, we love C. Mills.
All right, continuing on because there is a ton of chat today. Andy Engel, change of topic. I really dig the background music in the Black Sheep plumbing ads. Very Miami Vice.
You've heard that from several people.
Andy's the one that constantly mentions that. Kevin Branham. At Andy, you can't stop those velvet pipes. Oh, okay, see, he said, okay, he adds on. Andy adds on. He loves the music in the Black Sheep plumbing ads. If only Jason would stop talking in the ads so I could listen to the music.
Right.
And that's where Kevin Branham says, but you can't stop those velvet pipes.
Right.
Okay. I know Andy was only kidding. We won't hold that against Andy. Vic Ferrari, Todd Rokita, was all smug on Hammer and Nigel after your departure. What a tool.
Yeah,
He
Rokita's
was
one of
taking
those
his victory lap, wasn't he?
Well, Rokita's one of those guys that's a big fat phony. He's a real Billy Badass. But,
phony.
when at that Clay County Lincoln Day, when I got into it with Diego, he was walking around the tables. You know what table he didn't come up to and do anything with? Want to guess whose table it was?
Bet it was yours.
Yeah, that's right. Todd.
Josh Richardson, let Rob be Rob. I'm not telling Rob he can't cuss. It's his show. He can. I'm just over. I can't. Rob does what he does.
Somebody should ask Rokita why he's a big fat phony. I used to talk to Rokita all the time. Why didn't he just come and say it to my face? If you got something to say it to my face in front of everybody. Come in here and say it. We'll have a fun conversation.
Rob picking a fight with Todd. Mad Duck. I have a horrific story about my BFF, her pacemaker, and hospital incompetency. Terrifying. It is terrifying. Absolute tragedy. All right, continuing on. Lewis and Deputy. Louis and Deputy?
No, I think it's Lewis. Yeah.
It's Lewis. Podcasts are the way to go. Don't listen to news radio stations anymore.
Lewis Ann is a big fan of our show. She contributes generously at robkendallshow.com. She's a big fan of ours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Courtney Hill, I've said before, I have a theory on who helped push Rob out from within, and no, it ain't Casey. Casey had nothing to do with that.
No.
Mad Duck, at Courtney, my theory probably matches yours. What's the theory, guys?
What's the theory?
What's the theory?
Because I still have no idea what happened.
All right. C. Mills, my company sponsors a NASCAR car. Well, he didn't say car. He says, my company sponsors a NASCAR. Wish I could get them to sponsor you. Can you imagine the Rob Kendall logo on the back of a black NASCAR?
We need a sponsor for the show, like a title sponsor. We need to make something big.
We have John Rust, a very generous.
No, I'm saying, like how they'll have like the Super Bowl halftime show sponsored by Pepsi or the.
We
Pepsi
could get a
Super Bowl
garage door manufacturer and put a garage door.
Yeah,
there.
we need it needs to be the so and so Rob Kendall show, the Pepsi halftime show. We need something like that. If you work for a big bit, that would have to be a big sponsorship because it would attach my name to it. But we need to get one of those. Andy Mills, let me know if your business will do that.
There we go. Andy Engel. Okay, changing topics. Andy likes to change the topics in the chat. Rob, Jason, we need some Rob Kendall Show swag. T-shirts, hats, stickers, coffee cups. So the problem with that is there are so many places that you can get all that stuff from that there are too many places to get it from, and you have no idea what's legit, it's hard to find the right price. Like if you want to go to what is like Vistaprint or whatever, you can get a coffee mug made for like $30, right? But like to get them in bulk, we have to pay up front, and then what are we going to do with them? Nobody buys them or whatever. So that's the problem with the merch. So we're still working on the whole merch. We haven't even started working on the merch thing, let's face it. But that is something that now that I don't have to set up and tear down every day, and we have Rob's chair, I think we might be able to start changing the focus.
And we're going to come up with some cool stuff for the YouTube chat too, I think.
Sure.
So.
C. Mills, Rob Kendall is right. Bumper stickers. Andy Engel, I'd say bumper sticker, but I don't want to intentionally be driven off the road. Mad Duck, Death Wish equals Rob Kendall and Donald Trump bumper stickers on your car. I can't argue with that. I probably wouldn't put either one on mine either. Bradley Scheidler. You drive by people's houses with a Trump flag, and you just wonder, I wonder if their house has ever been shot at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sad. That's terrible to think.
I don't think it's as bad as it used to be.
In the small towns, I used to go to small towns, you'd see it and would think, but like in Indianapolis, it's like a rebel flag and a Trump. It's like, whoa.
I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. I think it's kind of people are over the I mean, obviously there are some
So
crazy people out
naive,
there.
Rob. Bradley Scheidler. I'm a Spotify listener a lot. Does it help to come on those days and but it hurts your average time listening then? No, you can, the likes are great. Listen on Spotify and then come back later in the evening just kind of and hit that
The like is more important than the time spent listening on the YouTube.
Okay. We just love that you're a part of it.
That's right.
That's
However
the
you wanna
main
be.
thing. Okay. Almond Joy Tempo. The Rob Kendall was right, and I pay character on Tippy Toes must be made into merch.
Yeah.
People might not know what we're talking about. You'd have to go to Rob Kendall on Facebook or Twitter and see the awesome illustration that Shrog Sandwich made of little Diego in Rob's face.
That's right. It's great. It's my profile photo. So Twitter, at Rob M. Kendall, Facebook, whatever, you can see it.
Yeah, you were talking about being on the radio, being on YouTube, MLM Warriors. I like Rob on YouTube. Andy Engel. I love that Rob is doing this show now. It's 39 and a half times better than the WIBC show. Keep working at it. You'll get to 40 times. Keep working.
I just think we have a lot more freedom here, and I think that works a lot better for what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Courtney Hill. Jason's going to need a whole hour for the comments. He gave me a half hour. I'm happy. C. Mills. At Courtney Hill. So we need a fourth hour for Jason.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. C. Mills.
I can't do a fourth
The producer, Jason, legendary hour extravaganza. Could you only imagine?
If you want to take it, have at it.
Rob, because at 12:02, Rob will have his bags packed, his coat on. You need me to do anything? Which he knows I always answer, no, don't touch anything on the way out. Just go.
Yep.
So it would be 59 minutes of me.
Look, I will tell
1
you.
1 minute of Rob exiting the
talking
building.
for 3 straight hours, it is tough. You're pretty gassed.
Right.
And
that's why I get the half hour. I know. I figured that one out.
Yeah,
I thought you were just being generous. He just runs out of gas. All right. Deep thoughts. Searched Greg. Okay, people asking how to. Now, this is serious. Okay, well, C. Mills, serious question. Where do I go to put my signature for Ballard?
Yeah.
Greg Ballard. Serious question, he says. Deep thoughts. Search gregballard.com/petition.pdf.
And they've got a deal where they're doing now where they're challenging 100 people to get 100 signatures. It's my understanding they've almost filled all those slots up to get people to get out and go do the signatures. And everybody should have a vested interest in the guy getting on the ballot. Doesn't mean you're going to vote for him. Doesn't mean you're endorsing him. Doesn't mean you're telling other people to vote for him. But he will make it fun. He will make the race more fun. Can you imagine how much fun that's going to be if it's Bai and Ballard and the Republicans screw up and put Diego on there? How much fun that's going to be?
Wouldn't it be awesome if we get both of them in here at the same time?
Well, Ballard and Diego, or Ballard and Bide come in.
Right. It'd be funner if Diego was there as well. Courtney Hill. Guys, look, I can see Jason's head swelling as we speak. What? I'm not the one complimenting me.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the
You
compliments.
wouldn't compliment Jason if you got to know him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's see. Continuing on, and we got a few minutes left here.
Yeah, it's PGA day, so I got to get home.
Oh, is it? Okay.
PGA Championship round one.
Okay. Deep thoughts. Put engagement to the show as far as likes and comments is 40%. And I didn't realize that was the thing that you could look up, but Deep Thoughts points out this is a new feature YouTube puts on a PC browser. So 40% engagement, very good.
40% of the people who listen engage? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, at the time. And this was probably early in the show.
Okay. See, you're helping us.
Oh, see, Courtney Hill. Okay, Courtney. Feeding my ego. Late getting back from a call. But yes, at C. Mills, a fourth hour for producer Jason.
Yeah, do it.
All right.
Rust!
Okay, serious one here. Shrog Sandwich, our fabulous artiste. Family, where is the billboard in Greenwood? I want to cruise past it today. McLovins, exit 99, Shrog. C. Mills, yes, exit 99. It's a rotating digital one, so you got to pass it right when he's on.
Just drive like 20 miles an hour.
Oh, man, we didn't get into any of the wedding stuff here, and we had some really good wedding stuff. Deep thoughts. I was a groomsman. The sister came up and asked me why I didn't stop the wedding. Robert Schwartz, the best wedding I ever attended. The father and mother of the bride were divorced. The mother flung a tray of sandwiches at the father at the reception. He caught it in midair. Kevin Branham, I'm just going to say, had sexual relations. I'm not going to say what he put. Congratulations, Kevin. It's always the goal. Vanita Christensen, wedding story. Our son's wedding at a nice mountain resort. His new brother-in-law was so drunk he passed out by 6 p.m. When he woke up, he got into a fight with the preacher and punched him. M. Bellor, I was at a wedding where the groom had gotten a young woman pregnant. Well, that's like 50% of the marriages. They were both still in high school. Both sets of parents were there, armed and threatening to shoot anyone who dared to stop the wedding.
Jeez.
I have a wedding story.
Oh, yeah?
Here's another one. Robert Schwartz, friend of mine's daughter, got married in Pigeon Forge at a cabin a couple weeks back. We had a bear crash the reception.
Oh, wow.
Says it's not unusual down there.
Oh, wow.
So I, as a photographer, I've shot a few weddings.
Yeah.
And the most memorable one would have been a lesbian wedding that I shot. A couple strippers got married. And at the reception, they had a stripper pole. So half the photos were of them spinning around the pole. It was the funnest wedding I've ever, and I've probably shot, I don't know, not a lot, maybe 8 or 9 weddings, something like that. But that was the most fun I'd had in forever.
It's one thing I regret, because when you first started, I was going to go with you and be your lackey or whatever.
I kept telling you, Rob, this is the one to go to. But he didn't. The chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Give John a call, Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right, you guys have been awesome. Thank you as always. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. Give us that little thumbs up before we go. Don't forget, we got the link up, robkendallshow.com. You're going to get the tickets to the live show, June the 27th. Get those tickets. They're moving quick. I'll try to get you a total on how many have been sold here coming up. I'll get in touch with John at Mad Hatter and let you guys know, but they are moving fast. I know that. And then we got the support button, too, at robkendallshow.com. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. We will see you right back here tomorrow, 9 until noon. You've been watching Rob Kendall Show.